figure out why you playing games. What's this all about? And I can't believe you hurted me. I met your girl, what a difference. What you see in her, you ain't seen in me. But I guess it was all just make believe. Oh, love, never knew what I was missing, but I knew once we start kissing, I found. Never knew what I was missing, but I knew once we start kissing, I found. So now you gone, what am I gonna do? So empty, my heart, my soul can't go on without you. My rainy days fade away when you come around. Please tell me, baby, why you go so far away? Why you go? Never knew what I was missing, but I knew once we start kissing, I found. Never knew what I was missing, but I knew once we start kissing, I found you. Now you know what am I gonna do? So empty, my heart, my soul can't go on. Go on, baby, without you. Rainy days fade away when you come around. Say you're here to stay. With me, boy, I don't want you to leave me. I need you. Never knew what I was missing. I never knew once we start kissing, I never knew what I was missing. Never knew once we start kissing, I What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming through on this Wednesday morning, afternoon, or evening. YouTube is tripping. My phone took forever to come back on. I hope it's not going to be an issue with trying to upload this video. But yesterday I found a very interesting title, and I said, I'm going to react off of the video instead of listening to it, because it was a truly unbelievable title by this Jamaican woman. She entitled this Diaspora Wars. Black Americans are the white people of black people, or so I've heard. So again, we have these people who, in my opinion, are jealous. And the reasons I've already showcased on various videos about us having our birthright, having coverage here in America, not being able to have issues such as deportation and being, just treated different from other types of global melanated people. They feel like we are a protected class. And so they they like stretch their imagination, I believe, as far as what they accuse us over. I have never thought of myself as a white person. Any other black person that I know, I mean, there are some people that are highly educated or whatever like that. Maybe they sound proper, but I don't think that they think of themselves as being white. I think they think of themselves as being universal or multi-layered, deep, cultural, whatever, the way we would like to describe ourselves. But I don't think most of us would describe ourselves as being white. But this is a video, I have not seen any of it, so I wanted to do a fresh reaction to it with y'all. This comes from Monique Math, the traveling Jamaican. And she has something to tell us about what she thinks we are. And let's just see what she had to say. Why is everybody still, again, consumed by us? I'll never get it. But she says this in her thumbnail. Black Americans are exhausting. So in addition to we're white people, we're exhausting, again, because we're not doing what people expect us to do. We're not talking the way people expect us to talk. People thought that we would be pimpable. People thought this bullshit Pan-African stuff was going to get us submitted. And a lot of us are waking up to the reality that we're the only ones that are fools believing in Pan-Africanism because nobody else practices it. So you'll be the only one sacrificing yourself, your money, your resources, your thinking, your sweat, blood, and tears towards projects that you're levying towards Africa, and then you're finding out that they only wanted your money and you're discardable. Coming up, I think 2 days from now, Go Black to Africa has yet again other horror stories about land scams there in Ghana. I will be doing that video reaction. But let's get to this video right here. It's kind of interesting. We're exhausting. Again, if you was not worried about us, if you weren't always in our space and in our face, why would we be exhausting? But that's what she says.
I've been sitting on this video for a while because I know it's going to be controversial. And I don't think what I'm saying is controversial. I think y'all are going to twist my words and tell me things women never say. I think that my words may be misconstrued. I think that y'all are going to take something and run with it into a different realm. So I want to put the disclaimer on the video first to just say, one of my favorite spiritual creators on TikTok, she has a saying that she loves to say, so I'll borrow it from her and say, I'm going to say some things that are going to make you probably triggered. Your cognitive dissonance is going to disengage when you're triggered. I implore you to think about it. Hear me first. Don't listen to respond. Just listen and see if you can understand where I'm coming from in some of the things that I'm about to say, because this is how we feel. Or let me not put these words on anybody else. This is how I feel. These are my thoughts and my opinions. I come on here open to dialogue. We can talk about it in the comments. That's clearly why I'm putting it out there, to bring the conversation out more, because I realize that it's a conversation that can be beneficial. And so even though I didn't want to be the face of this conversation, I didn't really want to put my 2 cents in the ring. Here I am. So what works best for me in situations where I feel like I want to get my thoughts out very clearly, I did a voice note to myself, because sometimes when I'm sitting here and the camera's in my face, I'm thinking about, I wonder if my angle and if do I look cute and whatever. So I did a very raw voice note, and I'm going to play it back, and I might pause to expound a little bit here and there. I don't know. I'm just going to play it back for you, and I'm just going to be in here in the background kind of reacting, and then maybe I'll add on some more at the end. But, I think I said it in the voice note. I don't want to repeat anything I said in the voice note. This conversation, as I said in a video past, Black Americans to me are exhausting, and a lot of y'all are are like, what do you mean by that, sis? What do you mean? Talk with your chest. So I'm here to speak with my chest because I'm back broad. And it's not really broad, but I am not very confrontational at all. I'm back broad at all. I'm not very thick skin. However, you know, one person left a comment to say that they want to be able to, they think it's a good idea for me to expound because, you know, the conversation is worth having. And I said it to my friend who is a Black American, and she was like, I really do think the conversation might be beneficial, and yeah, you should go ahead and put the video up. So this is why I'm here. So let's start playing the video. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. Yeah, you damn right. Yeah, you damn right. I don't get it. So, you know, I made this comment a few videos back in one of my videos. I don't remember which one now. That Black Americans are exhausting. And a lot of people came for me. A lot of y'all were like fists up, ready to fight. Like, what do you mean, sis? What do you mean Black Americans are exhausting? Talk on damn mode. Explain yourself. And I'm just like, oh Lord, here we go. And then some of y'all were like, we get it. But you know, it's just our environment. And I think those people are well-traveled people who said that. And then there was one particular person who said, what do you mean by that comment? I would love for you to expound and so we can have a discussion, because I think this is a discussion that needs to be had so that we in the diaspora can understand each other more. And let me tell you something, this video is for that one person. If I didn't get that comment, I promise you I probably would not have made this video, because I don't want to be platformed for this type of content. I don't want to be the face.
Sorry that she's long-winded as fuck and not getting to the point, but it's gonna get good, I'm sure. Let's go.
Of a Black versus Caribbean discussion. This is not my forte. I'm not well read on these topics. Like, I didn't grow up studying everything Black. And so the scope of this conversation is just going to be my very limited experiences with what I think is the Black American experience, just having been around them so much for these past 2 years. I mean, these past 2 years of my life, I have been around Black Americans more than I have ever been in my entire life. And that's probably why I don't speak Spanish as well as I should be, having lived in Mexico for 2 years. Because, you know, the majority of people that I hang out with, the majority of expats that I hang out with, I want to hang out with people that look like me. And the majority of people who look like me here in Mexico are Black Americans. You know, it's Black Americans first. Like I said this a few times, that I've only met, I think, one other Jamaican here who lived in Jamaica for a significant amount of her life. And so she even speaks Patois like I do. Like, I can talk my raw, chop Patois dialect, and she understands me. So, you know, the percentage of Black people here, I've met a few Africans as well who come directly from Africa. So, but the percentage of Black people here who are not Black American are very small. So if I want to hang out with people that look like me and we share similar cultures or some culture together, I'm going to hang around Black Americans. And having hung around Black Americans so much for these past 2 years, I've just picked up on a lot of nuances. And so one of my very close girlfriends here, you know, I told her about the comments that I got on the video, and she said, you know, maybe it is a discussion that we should have, because even when we were getting to know each other, she almost wanted to check me a few times, like, what do you mean? And she thought I was coming for her. And, you know, it's because we pushed through and had conversations and we started to understand each other, and she realized that I didn't mean things how she meant, and, you know, maybe vice versa and things like that. We were able to be like, oh, I thought you were, you know, I thought for a minute, but you're actually cool people, and vice versa. And so without getting to know each other and having these type of conversations, it's probably going to always be us versus them. And so because that one person left that one comment, and then I said it to my friend, and she was like, yeah, but maybe it is a topic worthy of discussion. You know, maybe I should. So what do I mean when I say Black Americans are exhausting? All right. I have a few points that I wrote down because I don't want this to be a rambling video. The first one is that I grew up on an island where 98% of the people look like me. And I don't know if that's a true statistic. I'm just telling you what I see around me every day. I had a white boss, but he was a white Jamaican, so he talked. So we shared the exact same culture, even though he was white. There was never any. I never felt any racism or any racial. I'm gonna pause the recording right there because this is even more relevant right now when Sean Paul just did his Tiny Desk concert, and the conversation around that is, wait, Sean Paul is Jamaican? I thought he was white. I thought he was Hispanic. I thought he was ethnicity, nationality, and race. Beat Allah we bad. It beat Allah we bad. Yes, there are white Jamaicans born and grown and anything coming from him.
So here she is displaying her love for the white Jamaicans, but she's trying to liken us to white people of America. So it's very interesting how she can dip in and accept the white Jamaicans, the famous ones, and say, yeah, they are white Jamaicans, giving them validation and stuff like that. But she's criticizing us about how we feel as we are within our own skin. She's not getting to the point quick enough. It's starting to get a little bit frustrating because I'm like, spit it out already. But I hope that she's going to get to the point and that it's going to make some type of sense, because so far she just rambling, babbling, not making sense, just going around in circles. And I don't know where this is going, but let's see.
The born and grown Jamaican, he is a black Jamaican. When I worked in a big corporation, I had white bosses who came from other places, like the big three, the Europes, the Americas, whatever. And, you know, with them, you can feel a stark difference. But I grew up on an island where, as I said, 98% of people look like me. And to me, I think that's a luxury. It is absolutely a luxury to get up every day and just blend in. And, you know, these are your people. These are my people. If I'm stopped on the road by police, I'm not tense because I think, oh my God, here we go. You know what I mean? If I'm stopped by the police in Jamaica, I'm gonna roll my eyes, come and take the police have a look me. Like, that's, when I say look me, I mean if I'm 90% of the times when I'm stopped in Jamaica by a male police, him gonna want to fresh himself and try to get my number or something. Like, so that's why I'm gonna roll my eyes like, here we go. Or I might be the one on the opposite end, like, I wonder if we can sweet him up and get out of this ticket if I know I'm in the wrong. So when a police stops me, my first interaction is not fear. It really depends on, we can't say that one day don't give me trouble. Or maybe I want to be the one to give him trouble to see if I can get out of the ticket. The difference there is stark because I have been stopped by the police before in San Diego, California, and the fear that was in us, because first of all, that policeman was chasing us for a while because we didn't realize that we were being chased by the police. He was on a bike, we just never seen him in the rear view mirror. So when we stopped, my heart was beating, like, because you hear the stories, so you're like, ooh, what is gonna happen right now? As a woman, as a black woman in Jamaica, it's not because I think, oh my God, this is about to be a racial interaction. If I go into a store in Jamaica, I'm not worried about somebody following me because I'm black and they think I'm gonna steal. If somebody follow me, them things say, maybe thief something at them store. That's just it. But it's not because.
It's very interesting how she has pride in Jamaica, but she's not there. I think she says she's in Mexico right now. So if it was better to be around your people, seeing black faces, knowing the culture, everybody's on the same page, why aren't you there? Again, they want us to feel bad about us. That's the whole thing. She's not in Jamaica. She's talking about past tense, but you're not there today. And you're telling us what?
I'm black. Them probably just think, say, you know, them have to watch everybody will come in at them store, or maybe they're profiling just on how you're looking at your face to see what teeth or what a teeth. But it's not because of my skin color. Now, of course, I grew up with a lot of classes, and especially someone who grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, where, you know, the city of that's the capital city, so it's more metropolitan, and, you know, we have a class system more so there than in the country, where you have uptown versus downtown, and who is ghetto from who is not, and I definitely experienced a lot of classism in Jamaica, but not at all have I ever had the experience of outright racism as a Black American has had. And so when I explain that to an American that I see and understand what racism is, and we share your disgust and your anger at racism, but I truly do not have that experience as a first-hand experience. So a lot of the incidences I simply cannot relate to. I can just listen to them and say, oh my God, that is so wrong. But I don't have that same emotional response as someone who's in it. And I think that Black Americans expect me as a Jamaican to have that emotional response. And it's just going to be a different response. It's not going to be a more right, a more wrong. But you may think or read my response as you don't get me, and it's because I truly don't. I've never experienced it myself. And so then a Black American will turn around on me and say, when you come to America, them now to ask you if you're Jamaican first before them shoot. They're just gonna shoot because you're Black. And I say, yes, exactly. So when because a Black American is the first person who's gonna turn around to you and say, you're not Black, you're Jamaican, and there's a difference. You're not like us.
And again, it's about our ethnicity. It's about having our own specific identity. You've been going through all the different changes to try to describe you as a Jamaican, how we don't have to, where you're not subjected to racism. You don't have to worry about the same things that we worry about. You're talking about pretty much everybody that's over there in the island share the same type of culture. There's no ill will vibration for the most part, so you claim. You're saying all the things that make you specific to the land of Jamaica, makes you unique and stand out and distinct from us. But when we say we're not you to try to describe who we are, then that's when we get all this flack about, hold up, you think you white. You think you better. You think this, you think that. It's like, no, we're trying to tell you our history, our understanding of who we are, how we feel about who we are, how we would like to identify ourselves specific to ourselves. And people really don't think that we should have any specific, being specific to ourselves, unto ourselves. They have an issue with us claiming our own, but they can. That's the catch. They can go through a whole rant like she's doing, describing who she is as a Jamaican, but let us do it, then we're divisive. Let us do it, then we are white in our minds. We are self-haters. We're delineating. We're trying to separate. We're trying not to claim Blackness. All these things are levied towards us. If we just do the same thing in which she's been doing in this video, which is describing what makes her unique. Isn't that strange? Isn't this hypothetical? But she doesn't see what she's doing. But let's go.
A Black American is the first person who's going to tell me that. However, when I do go to America, I am
And Black. Again, the reason why we say we are the Blacks is because that's the way that we've been described for generations. You guys have not used that term until lately, probably the last 10, 15 years, if that. And it's because we popularized the word Black. And now all of a sudden, everyone wants to share into the festivities of our civil rights. They want to share in the festivities of our accomplishments, of our history, everything attached to us. Everybody wants to use it like a buffet. Go and get your Blackness as you want from these people that have sacrificed themselves in America. Use it and use it as your own. And when you get tired of it or you don't need it, you don't have to use it, then you go back to being Jamaican, Haitian, African. That's what these foreigners have been doing to our identity, bastardizing our identity. And now we feel the repercussions and consequence of that. And this is why we are now saying we want to self-declare our own identity. And there should not be no problems. There should not be no jealousy. There should be actually some understanding about, well, they have been in America for hundreds of years, and they have had their name changed so many times. It must be frustrating after all this time to always have their name changed. It must be frustrating that all of us are coming over here and we're using their name. Perhaps we should step aside and let them choose their own identity. But that is not what is happening. People are getting upset. People feeling like they're entitled. People feel like they should be able to use us up and spit us out as they have been accustomed to. And we're tired of that. And they're taking us being tired of them using us as a buffet as a sign of us doing something wrong when it's us trying to set things straight. But they are deliberately playing dumb. They're deliberately using Black to suit them, and then they discard Black like dirty draws and go back to being Jamaican, going back to calling us, what do they call us, Yankees, or calling us Akatas, Africans, or others call us different names. Then we go back to being those things, slave babies. But when it's convenient and when they get a benefit, we're Black too, just like you. You can't separate us from Blackness, but you weren't that for generations. And now you are trying to fight us on our own ethnicity. And that is what is going on online. This is why the big headache is going on and the jealousy is coming out, in my opinion.
I see you're not Black, you're Jamaican, and there's a difference. You're not like us. A Black American is the first person who's going to tell me that. However, when I do go to America, I am Black first, not Jamaican first. So I don't get to choose that. You want to impose that on me, but I don't get to choose that.
Again, you are considered Black in America, but we just want you to understand that it's an honorary term used in America for you because you're here. If you weren't here, you wouldn't be that Black. You would be Jamaican. So it's honorary usage of Blackness because you are in America, but you're not our ethnicity. You're not us. We're not the same. You can't go and use Martin Luther King like I can. You can't talk about Malcolm X like I can. You could talk about Marcus Garvey, but you could talk about he tried to make it crack over here in America with us. He didn't do that among y'all. But there are differences between us. We do have a different outlook, a different perception, a different perspective, and people just feel like they should be able to rein in our thoughts and make our thoughts however they see fit. And they're understanding now with this so-called diaspora war, which we're not a part of the diaspora. People are trying to snatch or tag that to us. We're not from Africa. We don't have no home country that we come from. Like she can claim Jamaica. What could I claim if they talking about go back somewhere? Go where? There ain't nowhere for me to go. You can't designate pick an area for me and say, I'm just going to say that's where you're from. You're going to go there. Because that would not be the truth, and that would be a inhumane situation going on against us if something like that would ever happen. But don't you know that people in the back of their minds and in their hearts really feel like we ought to be deported somewhere, anywhere but in America? But that's not the reality that we've been living under. But this is what the jealousy and all these things I feel comes out of their spirit, out of their pores about, you know, who these Black Americans think they are. They think they're special. They think they're different. Well, you just told me in the beginning that I was different from you. You just told me that your upbringing in Jamaica makes you unique. So it's okay for you to say it, but it's just not okay for us to say it. You see?
Through and through, I am Black. But we do not share the same experiences or the exact same culture. I use that to preface the points that I'm going to make. The first one is that when I am around a group of Black Americans, before I get into the actual points, that whole preamble was just to kind of solidify my point when I say that I am Black, but I understand and appreciate that as a Black people, we share similar but different. We are similar but different. There is no better than, the differences aren't me better than you. There's no hierarchy. I think that Black Americans, I've heard Black Americans say that Caribbean people or even maybe African people look down on Black Americans or we don't like Black Americans. And I don't think that's the case. Or, again, I'm speaking for me and the people who are in my immediate circle. Like, I don't know where that comes from, that you think we don't like you. So what I'm about to get...
Because you guys are jealous, because you feel like we should not say anything anymore. Like, what we've accomplished is enough for us. In the back of their minds and in their heart, they figure what we got is good enough, and everything we talk on now is complaining, it's whining, it's crying. Let them tell it. That's all you hear from them. Why are y'all speaking? Y'all living better than most of us. That's how they come at us. Come at us like we should not have any more complaints. Let me see what you guys are saying before I let her continue. Thank you all for appearing. Thank you for the likes so far. If you could, though, please like the button and also subscribe to the channel and share. Thanks to everybody for coming through today, this Wednesday. Let me see where you guys are saying. What's up, Alexis, Easy X, Miss D, and everybody else in the clouds. I think it's interesting how she can be so unique and then try to break us down and tell us that we're nothing special. That's the first thing I'm noticing, her hypocrisy about how she thinks we ought to talk about ourselves. You know, it's very interesting. You said you're trying your best not to roast her, Alexis says. I'm pretty sure before the video is over, we will be, but she's taken a long time getting to her point. Miss D says, Black is the white people of the blacks, first of all. Caribbean and African are not Black. Exactly, Miss D. It is not, Black is our ethnicity. That is and always has been our ethnicity for generations, and we don't want everybody claiming our ethnicity, because if you can claim it, then who are we? You just pretty much erased our ethnicity, and you have taken away our essence as being Black Americans. If everybody can be the same thing as us, and it's just not truthful to do what they're trying to do. You're in the clouds? Okay. Many Caribbean, if being honest, is said they say they're not Black. Yeah, that's all I ever heard. Jamaicans tell me all the time they're Jamaican. They're proud of their culture and their distinct, unique identity. And now all of a sudden, when we say you're actually not Black, then it's a problem because we're saying something. They don't want us saying nothing. They want them to reign supreme over us. That's what the gist of what these immigrants are on. Alexis says, when I arrived in Jamaica, at Montego Bay Airport, I got a lot of red-eyed stares. Not the red-eyed. You said also, I have lived with Jamaicans and they believe we are lazy as well because we didn't have to struggle like them. Again, our ancestors sacrificed. They paid the cost for us to have our birthright. And that is the jealousy that I have observed for now a couple of years. This is what they are upset about the most. They don't think we should have a birthright. They think that we should be treated like other melanated people, even though our ancestors paid the cost for them to come over here in America and live a better life from the existence that they would have if they were stranded in their own homelands. They don't understand they have benefited off of our own ancestors' plight. And they want us to forget about our ancestors and replace it with some other thought process pertaining to all global Blacks. And it's like, no, we are home. This is all we know. You come from somewhere else. You came to be where we are. We can't now erase what we are to accommodate you. But they want us to erase ourselves and accommodate all melanated global folks around the globe and equalize our mind to somehow synchronize to theirs. And it's just stupid for them to think like that. But that's how they think. You said we can respect each other. We do have different cultures, Miss D says. We can be cool, but we're not family. We're not. I think that we should respect each other's differences and agree to disagree. But why all the fighting and bickering and moaning and all this other stuff? It's like live and let live. We're not changing our colors to suit other groups of global melanated people. it doesn't make sense for us to do. And we're trying to maintain our own sense of identity and who we are as a people. And people are trying so hard to dismantle us as being a people. That is the situation, the tug of warring that you are feeling in these so-called fake ass diaspora wars. We're not a part of the diaspora, but they're trying to force us into this diasporan mindset that is never a reality, because we do not have a home country that we can claim as from another place. They want us to claim Africa, but where and how can we do that when we don't have any family over there? We don't have no shared culture over there. How can you tell us, make us pretend? They want us to pretend. They want us to trip ourselves out. They want us to delude our own selves. And I can't get there. I'm sorry. Alexa says, why don't they focus and make videos on the Chinese buying up their land and beaches? Bingo. Cutting them off from fishing and having businesses on the beach. Exactly. They don't care about what other people are doing, though. They only care about how we are doing. It's the weirdest thing. They have so many other topics that they could be talking on, that they could be mad about, like the Jamaican Asian woman that told other Jamaicans that don't have the passport they're not really Jamaican. If you ain't got that passport, remember she went on a rant? She showed her passport. She showed her grandma's passport, talking about these make it legit. If you ain't got one of these, you ain't none of us. Nobody is really upset about her comments, though. But let us say we're not like you, and all hell breaks loose. It's very, very fascinating. It's like, my God, people are consumed by us. Alexis says, why don't they focus and make videos on the China? I think I read that. Okay. You also said talking badly about us will not bring back the Jamaica they once loved. It won't bring back nothing, but they want us somehow to feel guilted by the conditions of other places, like we have something to do with it. Again, it is a bullying and it is a Jedi trick that many immigrants are all in they're synchronized together and thinking that they can join forces against us. And this is what they've been doing on YouTube. That's why you have platforms where you can see so many other different types of Africans that normally feud Ghanaians and Nigerians. They have a long history of back and forth. They have a lot of stuff that they should be talking among themselves, working out. They get along when they talk about us, though. All of them get along. Jamaicans get along with the Africans, and they all just take turns jabbing and bashing us. That's when they're on one accord. That's how focused they are on what we're doing and how we're talking, and how we want to identify. They are so jealous of us thinking that we should be distinct from them. Like it's like I'd slap their newborn child or something. I'm like, dude, you just went through a whole half an hour of discussing who you are and why you're so unique from me. And I'm trying to do the same thing back. I'm not trying to up one you. I'm just trying to tell you and explain side by side next to you that this what makes me different and unique and not you. But when we say that, it really rattles Africans and these immigrants. It really rattles them. You said Chinese people saying they are more Jamaican than the people on the island. Exactly, Miss D. Why didn't they have a heart attack about that? Why didn't they go crazy on YouTube? You barely heard the video come out. They barely bring it up. They only bring us up. Everybody brings us up. Alexa says, why not they focus on how Jamaica is the top 5 of the most homicides on the national level? Oh, wow. See, they have a lot that they could be talking on. And the places that's ran by Black folks, unfortunately, is not ran as good as you would hope at this time and age that so-called melanated people would be on a higher level of development. They're waiting on other people to develop for them. They're waiting for monies to drop from the sky to help them. And then they're looking at us saying that y'all got this money. That's why all these investment ploys are always attached to this so-called notion of African American. We need your investment. Yeah, they want our money. They want what we have. They feel entitled to it. They want to get it easy. So they say investment. They say build. They say, come on over here. We're inviting you. We need this from you. What about the other Africans that fled? What about all the other successes that they brag about on YouTube? They got all this extra money. They're living the best life outside of Africa. Y'all not badgering them, though. You're badgering us, and we don't have nothing to do with Africa. And you're mad that we don't, but we don't have incentive to have anything to do with Africa when we don't have no people up over there. And y'all want us to make these fictional, imaginary strangers our people now, suddenly? When all my life, I've never thought about Africa like that. And suddenly it's a problem if I don't? That's called propaganda. That's called manipulation, on and on and on. That's what it is. And that's what they're doing specifically to us. And we're against that. We're not falling for that hokey dokey bullshit. We're our own people. We have a right to exist as ourselves. We don't have to be made over to accommodate you. And that's what they're mad about. Why can't y'all change to accommodate us? Are we asking you to accommodate us? What makes it okay for you to do that to us as Black Americans? Why do y'all feel entitled to think that way? I would like to know. She's mad because she can't rest easy in her own country like us. That's got to be it. You know what I mean? It's a sad situation what's going on in Jamaica, especially Haiti. It's a sad situation what's going on in the Congo. It's a sad situation that's going on in Africa in a lot of different spots. But we didn't do it. We didn't cause any of these conditions, and people are acting like we had our hand in it. Stop it. They keep comparing themselves to us very insecure people. Yes, Alexis, they keep talking about us as if we make this big magical difference in the world. No, we don't. We're just like you. We're just like you as far as trying to survive. We're just like you trying to not go under. Everybody's trying to maintain their life. We have the same incentive to survive. We don't have this extraordinary incentive to try to save other people, though. We're not self-sacrificing ourselves for other people. And that's the mindset that they're on. They're like, you should be willful to self-sacrifice yourself for the better good of the melanated Black folks of the world. Like, excuse me, are you self-sacrificing yourself for the betterment of the good of all of us too? No, you're not doing any of it. But you expect us to have to want to do it. And we see the manipulation and we're not going. Pan-Africanism is a figment, a fraud of imagination. There is no evidence that it is being done anywhere. It's just being preached and taught and badgered to us, though. And I'm sick of it. That's why I expose Pan-Africanism for what it is. It's a big fat lie. It is a tool used to bankrupt Black Americans, though, through fraud, through scams, through manipulation, through emotionalism. That's all I'm seeing it's being used for. Ain't no other way it's being used. That's why we need to throw it in the ocean and let it get ravished by sharks. It's a lie. You said, I don't have any issue with Jamaican men. It be the women salty. Jamaican men are very hyper aggressive sexually. I had experience with one. I'll just leave it there. But, you know, overall, I don't have no issues with Jamaicans other than if they're in my space trying to force or impose any idea onto me, I have an issue. I have an issue if they're trying to impose their thoughts and views onto me and try to make it my issue. Who are you to me? You are a stranger in my land. And although y'all want to say so much that this is not our land because they have this mindset that we don't belong anywhere, let them tell it. We don't belong here in America. They don't want to give us credence and credit for nothing, although using those things to benefit here, though. They just don't want us to benefit off of what our ancestors have done. They want the opportunities, though, to keep flowing in for them. The hypocrisy of these immigrants is very, very maddening at times. Ms. D says, if they don't know what racism is, how can they say they like us Black? If they can't see racism in America while living here in America, how can we work together? It's because you're not Black. We can't work together because that's not why they came here. They came here to benefit off the system and make a new way out of a bad situation from where they left. They're not thinking about them. They're thinking about themselves and their future and their family. They don't think about us, so they expect us to somehow think about them. It's very weird. It's very weird. What's up, Four Rivers? Thank you for coming through. You said they can't talk about our family living on Jim Crow. Yeah, you know, they came when the coast was clear, and that's the part that they are not trying to give understanding on. While slavery was going on, while Jim Crow was going on, while lynchings were going on, crosses were burning in the lawns, and all these other horrific things were happening, they didn't get here. They came when we did and went through all the things that cleared the way for these so-called rights and liberties to be now here. Then they just gently got on planes or trains or buses and got here. And then now they want to have disdain in their heart about what we got, which is simply our birthright, which they really, truly hate. Alexis says, I think it's because we can't be deported because this is indigenously our land and have strong rights. Exactly. That's the issue. Bingo, right there. That's what they would wish that we won't have. That's why, again, I am very suspect about these so-called citizenships to Africa. Again, that's the only thing that they're offering here and there. I don't want no damn citizenship in Africa. I'm not from there. I don't share their culture, their food. Why are we talking about citizenship when we're not from there? Again, that's the only thing they're calling themselves having a remedy to the issues that we're having here is get citizenship over there in Africa. No, thank you. That's not an upgrade. That's not an upgrade. While other Africans are fleeing in mass numbers to come over here. That's not an upgrade. I don't want it if it's not an upgrade. But other people don't see it that way. They see it as you have an option. You have an option to suffer. You have an option to be done dirty. You have an option to be got. You have an option to be done, any kind of way in another man's land. And this is what we're seeing is happening. And that's just the truth. Four Rivers said, yes, Jamaicans and other Caribbeans have always proudly claimed their identities as that. Exactly. That's why I find it odd when I'm on YouTube and I hear people arguing about them claiming Black, them claiming to be an African American as well or Black American as well. It's like, why are you fighting for our identity that was forced on us, that, was imposed on us? You have your identity already. Why would you murk the water up by trying to say you're also me? it's the disrespect for me. It's like, it's obvious you're not me. You came over here, or even if you were born here, but you had your parents come from over there, you know, you have another land that your family came from. You know, you're not exactly the people that have never known no other land, but yet they want to misconstrue who is who. And they're doing it on purpose. That's why we want to delineate, because of the confusion being brought forth by y'all that did not have to be, if you just would have been proud about who you are. And then you want us to feel bad about us being who we are. Somehow we are the problem. And I'm not going for that. How you doing, Ashley? Thank you for subbing. I really appreciate you. Thank you for saying that I'm doing amazing work. I'm just trying to be as honest as possible in 2024. We have a lot of people that's manipulating us from Pan-African lies. And I've been exposing all these liars, all these fraudsters, all these people that think that we're just supposed to be little retarded kids running around drooling and listening to anybody and doing whatever anybody tells us to do. I don't think that that's the way in which today we need to be like. Miss D says, right, for Black, we don't owe anyone anything. We are our own group. If we want to identify ourselves, we have the right to. And yes, we are special. We are unique. You know what I'm saying? We have a history where only we know of America. Nobody else can say that. We have a history of the only people that have had name changes, categories applied to their identity for generations. We've been stripped of everything and made over and over and over and over and over again. Nobody else has had this experimentation thrown up on us as we have. And we have a right now to declare our own identity and find some confidence and power within ourselves that people are trying not to let us have. And it's really weird. It's like, you can be prideful, but I can't. How does that work? For River says, many Jamaicans were very deceptive to the Black Americans during their immigrant influx in the 70s and 80s. They act like they were in love with Black Americans for scam marriages until they got green cards. Exactly. That's where we see this is at today. We see so many horror stories of people with green cards, or people getting married and unalived, people being manipulated and used and abused and spat out like garbage. This is going on today, and people still want us to have this imaginary love for all Black global folks. It's like, we're living in 2024. People are desperate. People are out here trying to do whatever they got to do to make it, and they're using us to make it. We are a targeted group as Black Americans. This is what I talk about. We are the ones to go to and go through for a lot of different fucked up things. And I want us to be mindful more about our predicament as Black Americans and why we should not be used and abused and spat out like trash. Because that's not what we are, and that's not why we're here. We have a right to have that mindset. But people feel like when you have that mindset, you are divisive. Because you should be open to be used however, whenever, by any other melanated Black folk. That's the mindset they want us to carry within us. And that's a fucking lie from the depths of hell. We're not going there. Sis, you ain't lying, and you making too much sense in your commentary. I'm breaking it down, Easy X. I might as well. They all get mad when Black Americans cut off the tethers. Again, I would not even tripped off of that word until recent, but it's obvious that people have been using us like draws, and they take it off whenever they want. They put it back on. They just been manipulating us. They have been really trying to have us in a stronghold mentally. And for me to stand up and just be for real, I hope some of this is resonating with some of y'all. I hope. Please like this video. Alexis says, a Jamaican American ex of mine had to pay the tourist price at excursions in Jamaica because he wasn't considered Jamaican because he didn't have a Jamaican passport. They gatekeep worse than we do. Exactly, Alexis. And like that Asian woman said, if you ain't got this passport, you ain't Jamaican. To the Jamaicans of the family that, she's telling them you ain't real. And they did not get upset with her. They should have really got upset about that. I got upset for them. I was like, damn, she told them. Day in the life with Boss Chick. Hello. How you doing? Thank you for coming through. I really appreciate it. Misty says, hey, day in the life. Okay. What's up to y'all? You said, when I was a panny, meaning Pan-African, sorry to admit that. I'm sorry that had to happen too. You said, I always asked, why is helping Black Americans first instead of Africa and Africans considered anti-Pan-Africanism? Nobody had an answer, so I bounced. Fam, it's first. Exactly. Nobody expects us to have the protection and energy for ourselves and our own survival. They want us to give that energy towards everybody else. That's what they're asking us to do, self-sacrifice. That's the mentality that they're trying to create in us. And I refuse to go there because you can't survive self-sacrificing yourself. We have got to survive. Y'all have to sacrifice your own self for your own plights, just like our folks already did. We're not going to just leave our fight and go fight yours. That don't make sense. But they're asking us to do that. And if we don't, we're self-hating. Seeing the manipulation? We're self-haters if we don't want to self-sacrifice for y'all. But y'all wouldn't do it for us. But you expect us to do it for you. The nerve. You said, Ashley said, my mom told me decades ago, they are jealous of our status. Thought that was crazy. But I understand that now. That's what I'm saying. They're jealous of our birthright. That's what this all boils down to. Yes, I'm not playing. I'm over here telling the truth, even though I'm not appreciated a lot of times or I'm accused of things. I have to be the truth bearer, even if you don't like it. Ashley says they feel they are not Black. They know they're not Black. Like I said, they have a pride within themselves about themselves when it's convenient. And then when they want to mind fuck us, then all of a sudden we all the same. Why are you calling yourself different? Now, this woman right here in this other video is going to break it down. Why there's jealousy. They're in Ghana, as you know.
She claims Africans are jealous of Black Americans.
Listen, this is going to tick some people off, but I do not want to associate myself with being African American. That is out the door, and I'll tell you why. Now, I have had discussions with people who, Black Americans who had went over to Ghana. You remember that time when the president was like, oh, we want, Black people from the diaspora to come over to Ghana. We're going to welcome you with open arms. You remember that? Well, a lot of people that I know that went over to Ghana, and I was going to go too. I had drunk the Kool-Aid, and I'm like, well, shoot, let me go. But the people who went over there ended up coming back. The stories that they were telling, what was happening over there, they were getting scammed. They were purchasing land. Come to find out that the land wasn't even, in their names, that somebody else owned it, and there was nothing that they can do. They were spending thousands of dollars over. So basically what was happening is it was kind of like, it appeared to be a lure for, Black Americans to go over to Ghana so that they can get scammed, right? And so they can get disrespected. And I'll talk about the disrespect. Now, there are a lot of videos that are circulating now where people are telling of their experiences at, how the Africans treated them over in Ghana. And so what they're saying basically validates what a lot of the people who I spoke with were talking about. They said when they got over there, they were so disrespected, right? And when they got over there, it was kind of like people just assumed that they had all of this money and they were just a big money grab. They were scammed out of their money. They were paying higher prices and everything. Now, there was this recent video that I saw on YouTube. Now, this wasn't the experience of the people that I personally spoke with, but They are now at the point where they're unaliving people, Black Americans. This one lady that I followed on YouTube, and I'll probably, post her video at some point. She said that she had heard some news that one of the Black women who went over there was found unalived behind her so-called property. Then she went on to say that it's now becoming typical that when they go there and they're out amongst Africans, that they are looked upon as like dogs, very disrespected. So I have chalked it up, and I have said to myself, I'm like, you know what, based on these stories, the personal stories that I've heard from, and then all of the videos that are circulating about Africa, and I know Africa is a huge continent made up of different countries. I'm specifically talking about Ghana, but I know it's the same in other countries. But let's focus on Ghana. Those people are jealous of Black Americans. Don't think for one moment that they are not envious or jealous. They watch Black culture intensely. They mimic everything that we do. They love our music, our style, everything. They are watching us. And as a result, for some reason, they're jealous. And I wonder, what's the jealousy and envy is all about? So it boiled down to this. I think it's because of our freedom. And the reason why I say this is because I had already posted some months back that my ancestors were already here, that they did not come on boats. They were already here. They were not slaves. Oh my God, when I said that, and that video went somewhat viral, when I said that, people were coming for me in the comments, I mean, foaming at the freaking mouth. And you know who were foaming at the mouth and calling me all kinds of names and telling me I was lying? Were African people. Where one woman, and I looked on her page, her forehead was probably about 12 feet high, said that you will still be a slave in our eyes, dog. That's what she said to me.
You will still be a slave in our eyes. A lot of them, not all, but the ones that have bloodlines to slave trade really, truly feel that way. And if you rub them the wrong way, they will let you know. So it's very fake and phony to pretend like these Africans have love for you, because most of them just don't. It is exception to the rule if they like you. You are the exception to the rule. Overall, they have disdain. Overall, they hate our birthright. Overall, they don't like us in their mind, feeling like we are covered, that we're protected, even though we have our qualms here in America with police brutality, racism. We know all that. Discrimination, we know all that. We've been dealing with all that for centuries. But they still say, hey, it's better than what we got going on. You're still living better than what we got going on, though. And we hate you for that. That's the truth.
So I say this to you, Black people, here in the United States of America. Africa is not your home. The United States of America is your home. Deal.
Bingo. And until that's the difference between me and Pan-Africans, that's the difference between me and leaning Africans. They want to remake us having a home in Africa against our will. Y'all gonna see this come out eventually more and more. You're hearing it though through Pan-African talk, garble talk, all the hatred talk, all this talk. Now we're white. Let's get back to this lady that claimed that we're the white folks of the Black people. Let's see what she is. Is she gonna wrap it up? Is she gonna get to her point? She's taking forever to get there. But again, people are levying any accusation at us because, again, they are jealous of us and they don't think that we should have any thoughts about how we should feel about our own group of people. They think that we should just consider everybody else's plight and place their plight over our own. That is the sentiment of most of these melanated folks global that come to America. That's the mindset that I've observed. That's the truth. But you have Pan-Africans and leaning Pan-Africans that want to flip the reality and tell us fantasies, fill us with lies, say we should love one another. We all love one another. We all the same. We're all brothers and sisters. Forgetting about tribalism, forgetting about the fact that they would like to have us not be who we are, have us in a predicament such as them struggling. That's what they would love to see have happen to us. And so when we scammed, when we become unalive or something drastic happens against us, people are celebrating it. People are secretly smiling about it, if not outwardly expressing their love for whatever happens to us. Oh, well, it's your turn. About time. That's the sentiment of many of them. That's why when scams happen, you don't hear them say a word. They want to hurry up and go to the next topic. They don't want to spend no time long talking about us being scammed or done dirty. And if you do have a story about being done dirty, people want to shut you down like they're doing with Kimberly. And I'm glad she's standing strong and living her truth, not backing down, because you have to tell the truth and shame the devil. And people want to keep this perception of Africa so glittery and inviting and loving and all these lies being sold specifically to us. And we're sick of it. We're going to expose every bit of truth involving what's happening to us so that we will wake up and stop the fantasy of Africa. Stop worshiping Africa, because it's not going to benefit you to do so.
To get into are some instances where we're different, and where you might get that from, that we don't like you, is because of these certain things. And so we, especially when we are put together in a group, we might try to distance ourselves because of these things that I'm going to discuss. So while I don't believe any at all that there's a hierarchy and one is better than the other, or it is a case where collectively we just don't like each other, I don't think that's the case. But I do think that there are misunderstandings on both sides. And if we can have conversations around the misunderstandings on both sides, then maybe we can understand where each other is coming from and integrate better. Because I've seen it said on Twitter before that Black Americans think the Caribbean people don't like them, but it's not the ones back on the island. It's the ones that come to America, migrate there to live. They are the ones who don't like Black Americans. And I want to say that it's not that we don't like you, it's that we're trying to fight our own race. When we come to another country, we are starting below every citizen. So you as a Black American, sometimes you think that you are the bottom of the rung, understandably so. When we migrate to America, we are even below that. So we are fighting our own fight to just even get on your level before.
Exactly. They're fighting to get and reach to where we are. They want to have our spot. They want the same thing as we got. So why are they saying we're trying to be white? Why are they trying to say we're trying to be white when they're trying to be us? We can't live. Where are we supposed to be? What do y'all suggest we go? This is what we know. This is what we built. This is who we are. But you're just saying you're trying to reach where we are. You're trying to become us. You're trying to be just like us. And you're trying to ridicule us in your title saying we're the white people of the Black people. Make it make sense.
And so that is why you might think that I've heard the argument, we kiss ass and we body up to the man when we are there. That not have nothing to do with we not liking you. We are struggling to make sure that we have opportunities as well. And so we have a hustle our way to the top. And if that means we have a body, we have a body. And you would like us to not body because you're saying we are working with the man, we are defending our money. But I digress. Let's finish this first.
We are defending our money. Bingo. But they have a right. They have excuses that makes it okay for them to do and think how they do. But we can't think to do for our own protection and our own mind and peace, we're not supposed to do the same thing? Preserve ourselves, protect ourselves, prevent people from preying off of us, leeching off of us. We should not come to a mindset of that conclusion, dealing with the global melanated people that have a mindset of surviving through us, over us. We can't elevate our mind to match your energy. We got to be lowly because we're melanated too.
Sometimes, like a lot of the times, I will say that the conversation surrounds blackness. And for me, that I just sit there and twiddle my thumbs because, again, we do not have the same experiences, and I just don't have anything to add to that conversation because that's not my life. That's not what I experience in my life. I don't know. I can sympathize, empathize. I can do all the things, but I just can't jump into that conversation and go anything but yeah. I can't understand how that must feel like. And so, and it's exhausting for me because I didn't grow up with I didn't have a lot of those type of conversations with my friends. In my friend group, we do not talk a lot about the Black experience because we are not living the Black American experience where you're first judged by the color of your skin before anything else. I don't have that experience too, so I cannot relate to a lot of the conversation, and they talk about it a lot. Blackness is a big part of Black American lifestyle, and I'm not trying to take that away from you. And this is not a positive or a negative. It's not a critique. I'm just saying that when I'm in a big group of Black Americans and they're talking about it, I'm just in the corner sitting quiet because I don't have anything to add or take away to that conversation. But it is a lot, and that part gets exhausting for me, just talking about blackness, because let's be real, talking about blackness is heavy shit. It's heavy freaking shit. And, there was a time that Jamaica was rated one of the happiest places to live. Even though we're poor and we're full of crime and everything, you know that, you have Jamaicans in your friend group, and you know that them ever, I tell you, say, things airy, things cool, just chill, man, me just a cut and go through, me now make that stress me. That is my inclination too. I want to sit down and talk about problems. I want to sit down and talk about, I want to throw back shots.
She has not gotten to the part about what makes us the white people of the Black people. This is halfway through though, y'all. I hope she gets there because my patience is waning. But she's going through a whole, rant about how different we are. And I agree. You don't relate to our plight here in America. You came over here, you're mentally and spiritually not there. We get it. But we as Black Americans need to understand that you're never going to be there, just like I understand it. You're going to do you, we're going to do me. I'm not going to try to synchronize myself to your plight, though, and care about you more than my own survival, though. And that's what my platform is trying to showcase. Don't put other people over your own life. Why are we doing that? Is something written somewhere saying that that's what we must do? Because that's how everybody's acting. It's weird.
Through my ass in a circle. So the second point is, for the first point, I can't relate to a lot of the conversation. But then, my culture is not the same too. So a lot of the conversation is just culture. And so, I can't relate. Because we do not share the exact same culture. There's a lot of crossing. Like, for instance, even the food. There's Jamaican food and there's soul food. I didn't even realize it because I've been traveling to America for a long time. My first trip to America was when I was 11. And I've had soul food the first time here in Merida. That was my first time having soul food. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But that was my very first time having soul food. But Black Americans, many of them have tried Jamaican food before, because Jamaicans know and we take up ourselves and we go far and go live. And, every time, anywhere you go far, you can find a Jamaican restaurant. So they've had jerk chicken or whatever, or a lot of them have traveled to Jamaica before, so they've had the authentic Jamaican food. But I realized that I've never had soul food, because even when I'm traveling to the States, I'm probably going to link up with people who are in my diaspora, the Caribbean diaspora, and so I'm going to have Jamaican.
Again, that's what we understand, and that's what we're trying to convey, or I'm trying to convey, that we understand that you guys are going to cleave to your own group. We're trying to make it known to other people of America that we need to do the same thing. We can't be so scatterbrained to put Africans ahead of us and worshiping them in this Pan-African talk. It is making us very ineffective in my mind. It is making you so sentimental, emotional, and usable. And this is what we're finding, trying to put other people over your survival, you as a person. It is not a good thing to do. Other people are not doing this, but they're telling us to do that. Specifically, they're telling us, Pan-Africans are telling us, immigrants from all over are telling us to do this thing called self-sacrifice. Put others and everybody over yourself. Put all other interests over yourself. Don't think about yourself. If you think about yourself, you're selfish. Be selfless. Are they being selfless? Are they sacrificing anything for us? Do they care about us? No, they don't. For the most part, they don't. That's just the reality. But we're being turned and spun a lie, a Pan-Africanist, globalness, love, and everybody's getting along, but you don't see no sign of it nowhere. But we're being told that's how you're supposed to believe Santa Claus is coming to town. Everybody's going to get along and everybody's going to respect everybody. You've seen people getting backstabbed. You've seen people getting done dirty, unalived. You've seen all kinds of trickery stuff, marabou being done, witchcraft, all kinds of wicked, crazy stuff is happening out here for real. But we're being told hold hands and think of everybody lovingly.
Food, if I'm going to even a cookout, I'm going to have Jamaican food. And so I've never had, I never tasted greens with turkey or whatever you put in it until I was here in Maryland, and I do not like that. I've never tasted mashed potatoes with vinegar in there, and I don't, not mashed potatoes, potato salad, vinegar in there, and I don't like that at all. I am definitely planning to give soul food another try when I go back to America. I want to visit New Orleans. That New Orleans has been on my list for a long time, bucket list. I want to go during Essence, Jazz Fest, whatever. So I get it that the person who I tried soul food from here in Mexico it was a Black woman, but she probably just got hooked. Or maybe I just really don't like soul food, but the greens, the collard greens with the ham hock or the smoked turkey, whatever you put in there, I didn't like it. The potato salad with a vinegar.
Again, it's okay that she didn't like it, but if you say you don't like their food, if you say you don't like fufu, if you say you don't like goat meat, if you say you don't like whatever, people lose their mind, but it's okay for them to disrespect and say, I didn't like that, but that's okay. You can have your opinion, but just note, when we say we don't like their food, we're self-haters. Oh, how could you go against African cuisine? That's the motherland. How could you talk bad about black folks' food? You should get back to your culture, to your roots. All this nonsense talk. If we have an opinion, I don't think that I would like most of their food because I think it's too spicy. I don't like and do a whole dish that's full of spice. I like to dip into spice. I don't like the whole saturation of food to be spicy. So I doubt I would like a lot of African cuisine. Does that mean I'm a self-hater if I don't like it? But she can have her opinion and say, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. But again, we are held to a different standard by these melanated global folks.
We kind of finished to it. I'm not used to that at all, so I didn't like it at all.
Now, mac and cheese, a lot of it is a widely known phenomenon that in the Caribbean we have a macaroni pie that is.
And this is not one is better than the other, because enough people tell me say them not like jerk chicken, them not see the hype in oxtail. I don't eat oxtail, so I don't see the hype in it either. So yeah, it's not. I'm just trying to point out here that we share a lot of similarities in our culture, meaning we all love really good food, and we all have our namesake food, like things that are known worldwide for being us and our culture. Black Americans have theirs, Jamaicans have ours. So we are known for food, but within the specificities, it's different.
It's baked and hard. And that is how my mom used to make macaroni and cheese. Me growing up in the internet culture, I took a Black American's recipe from online and started making it for my family gatherings, and people loved it. And so my mac and cheese has always been the Black American way. And so even though I've never actually went abroad and tasted their mac and cheese outside of maybe a chain restaurant like a Red Lobster or mac and cheese or whatever, I've never had home cooked macaroni and cheese from a Black American soul food kind of. I've never done that, but I know my mac and cheese is banging. But I will be the first to say I got that recipe from a Black American chef. It's different. It's those little subtle differences where even though we share a lot of culture, it's different. Our music is different. Our food is different. And so when you're talking about specificities in your conversations, I'm just kind of over in a corner. Just one man said to me one time when I did chime in the conversation and I was talking, and the man looked me in my face, and that's exactly where I went wrong. First of all, I'll be the first to admit, because friend is a man. Wrong. But the man turned around and looked me in my face and said, yeah, we get it. You're from Jamaica. And I'm just sitting there like, brother, okay, so that one time that I went to New York, like, are these the stories that you want me to relate then? Like, what the hell? I can't contribute anything else to the conversation but my Jamaican experiences, because I spent the first 40 years of my life there. Like, okay, so and I don't know, and you know what? That just came back now that I'm relaying this on this channel, and maybe that's why some of the time that when we sit down in the conversation, we just sit down and quiet, because the man they said to me, say, oh, we get it, you're from Jamaica, so you know y'all don't want to hear my experience. So we just sit down and quiet when we're not talking about Black American things, because we're not talking about when we relate to each other, and we just sit down and quiet. Because me come from Jamaica, I only can't relate.
That was a whole lot of power to translate what I just said. I think you'd have gotten the gist of it. But yeah, I was in a conversation one time. I'm sitting at a table with 4 other Black Americans, and everybody's talking. And so if somebody's relating a story, 9 times out of 10, somebody else is going to come in with a similar story. But all of my similar stories are Jamaican tinged. I can't contribute anything else to the conversation because my stories are all based in Jamaica. That's where I lived all my life. So I'm going to say, when did they yard? And the man turned on and said, yeah, we get it. You're from Jamaica.
Why did we stuff Reese's Take 5 with 5 flavors? Because you can't handle 6.
So, brother, where you want me to tell you one story from then?
Unless I have definitely met some.
Again, this is almost over. You got another. She needs to get to the part what makes us white people. I don't know why she would do kind of a triggering title and she's just dragging it out. Come on with it, lady. We ain't got all night. My God.
Friends who they recognize that I'm from Jamaica and I don't share the same experience, and so a lot of times they turn to me and say, is that how it is in Jamaica? And then I will relay how, because a lot of things are very close, and so anytime I chime in, I'll say, yeah man, when we did get back home, because a lot of things are very close, but they're not exactly the same. And that's how you'll find it in the diaspora, I think, is that we are who we are. We are very closely knit, but because we were far-flung in all these different countries, there are nuances to all the culture everywhere. But the man tell me, say, yeah, we get it, you come from Jamaica. So I just own the corner and say, okay, boss, talk on the things. And that man is a very awkward man, and I've avoided anywhere he is, and he avoids society because I think he knows that he's wrong and strong. But anyways, another thing with the Black Americans is that because they are constantly judged and they present, I can't even say they present themselves, because their skin presents for them in almost any setting that they're in before anything else. Color of their skin is the first thing that people see, and they're immediately.
Now I want to point out something. You notice, well, I notice how I will say they present themselves because their skin talks for them before when I step in a room, people see a Black person first. I notice in myself that I don't say we. My skin speaks for me when I step into a room first, but it's the difference in conversation and how I put it, because I didn't think about how I said it just then, but now listening back to it, I'm like, why didn't I include myself in that scenario? Because I'm Black too. And it's, again, just because I didn't grow up with that in the back of my head that I'm Black. So if I go into this restaurant or walk down the street, it's first and foremost in my mind. And so that is why when I'm having these conversations, I might say they, without including myself, when I'm very much a part of that. If I step out and I went over to France, then it becomes immediate for me that I am a Black person, and if I'm going into somewhere new, the thought process for me is different when I'm in somewhere new, as opposed, because Blackness is just one of the things that I'm thinking about when I go to somewhere new. It's a very important one, it's a very big one. I'm thinking, how am I going to be treated here, blah, blah, blah. But I think I'm about to say that for Black Americans, it's the thing, it's the first thing. And, it just shows again why we are all the same Black people, but the differences in, like, behavior-wise, it's gonna be different because I was born and grown and raised and lived all of my life amongst Black people who, this is just who we are, and so we didn't have this Black first and everything else after to deal with. Like, I'm not going into a store thinking, the man have a judge me now, but I'm a Black. That's not a thing that crosses my mind at all.
Judge before they even open their mouth. Because they have grown up or they have lived in a very abrasive setting for their entire life, I realize that there is an air, there's an aura, there's an attitude of aggression coming from a lot, not everybody. Nothing that I say is a blanket statement, but I get an aggression from some Black Americans immediately. And I think that's what my friend, maybe, I don't know, when she was talking about,
an aggression? What is she talking about? Now we have an aggression. Again, we just are living our lives in America. People come to America and they expect us to be, I guess, welcoming and loving. They want us to be a character out of a movie or something, I guess. We're just people trying to survive just like you. There's nothing about we should be doing something extraordinary, special for other melanated groups of people. We're not going there. Pan-Africans are lying because nobody else is doing it. We're not doing it either. We're not Jesus up in this piece. We're not Jesus. We're not sacrificing ourselves for the better so-called good, which is not true because it's Pan-African fable, for the melanated global folks of the world. That's a fable. It's not reality. But again, we have an aggression. I hope she gets to the point.
There's some things, and I'm like, what you? And then we talk, and she's like, oh, because I was about to cut you. I get that aggression from Black Americans. Like, I might say something that rubbed them the wrong way, and they immediately other me. I want to be like, and I see it in the way that they treat Mexicans, and I don't like it. I do not like it. There is just and I get it. It's because of you have built up this aggression of everybody coming at you and for you in America. So now
and they are, and they're doing it on social media every day. This video, all the videos, everybody talks about Black Americans. What do you think about Black Americans? How do you feel about this? Have you ever met one? What do you think? What do you feel about their history? Are they African? Are they American? All this emphasis on us. We're sick of it. Get consumed with your own problems in your own country land and do something about it. Link up with other people from your country and do something about your own predicament. We're not that special. We don't want to be perceived as that more special than anyone. We're just like you, trying to survive. People are putting us on a pedestal to look at us all the time, to talk about us all the time. It is very, very strange, and considering all the serious problems that is going on throughout the melanated global Blacks, Jamaica, Haiti especially, I don't understand why y'all can't give them the same energy y'all give us. Why do we get so much energy? Because again, it has to be jealousy. It has to be. That's all y'all talk about is us. All of y'all. All you melanated global Black folks. What is it about us that y'all must continue to talk on? Why are y'all so worried about what we're doing, how we identify? Why does it really matter to you as much unless it's jealousy? It has to be.
you're outside of America, you kind of think that it's the same, and it's half of the times it's not. Half of the times it's not. But that's your thick skin, that's your immediate boundary, and just like be. And so I hate to see, we have this thing. I've seen this statement many times on Twitter where people say Black Americans are the white people of Black people. And I definitely get why that statement holds some truth, because Black Americans leave America, go to other countries and behave as if they are the colonizers now. The treatment that they get in America.
Okay, so that's an ongoing statement that's going around. When y'all go to Africa, you guys are now trying to be like colonizers. You're trying to save Africans. You have all the understanding and the knowledge and the wisdom to help the Africans, to help the children, to build a school, all this stuff, this pretend stuff. Oh, we're going to build over here. You ain't built shit in America. You're not building in Africa. You're a great pretender. Show us what you can do in America. Stop talking that garbled talk about building in Africa. It's ridiculous. You can build in Africa, but you can't build here. You could do everything over there in Africa. It's ridiculous. But again, because y'all have that mindset, I understand her saying this part, I guess. I don't know if colonizer is the proper term. I think in a person that's full of fantasy, who believes that they're supposed to be some superhero or something, supposed to be some type of great helper, but it's not realistic. That's not what is happening. That has not been happening since the beginning. So why do we keep telling ourselves this lie, this fable? But look at her. Look how she's looking.
It is very often that they leave America and turn around and give that treatment to people who they think are below them, because they love to come to Jamaica and say this is a third world country. This is beneath.
Oh, now y'all love to come to Jamaica and say it's a third world country. Well, isn't it? So we're supposed to say it's first world, is paradise, is we're supposed to just give it all kinds of compliments and worship. If it is a third world country, then it is. Like you said, we like to say it, or is it just that way? they're just jealous that we even can have the option of saying that it is a third world country. They don't want us to have an option. They want us being in the same predicament as their peoples are going through it. And that's what the jealousy is all about. They don't like us having an option to choose to go to Africa or wherever. They feel like they've been forced to go to America and other places to survive. And we are comfortably choosing to decide to do different things, not out of haste, at least not for most of y'all. Some of y'all have done it out of haste and got yourself caught up, not managing properly, going over there to Africa and winging it, and then finding yourself being eaten alive and losing out of options and cornering yourself over there in Africa when you make that decision. But for the most part, people are casually going over there. They're not rushing to go over there. They're choosing to come back. They don't like the fact that we could have flexibility in our choices comfortably. When they're just struggling like the Haitians to wing it, traveling through jungles and stuff, doing all these different things to try to get out of Dodge, we haven't been acting like that. And I think that has a lot of animosity and jealousy about the fact that we are kind of comfortable with our options still, even though they're becoming a little bit harder. But we still have an option that other people feel like they don't have.
Me, and so they talk down to any and everybody. They do it here in Mexico, and I don't like to see it. I don't like, so if I'm in a crowd of people, it has happened to me on 2 specific instances where I'm in a group of people and one particular person is being particularly nasty to wait staff who does not deserve it at all. And I'm just like, so that aggression and that attitude of I'm gonna check you first and ask questions later, or I'm a act as if I'm the colonizer here. I am better than you, and you have to do things to my standard or my way of doing. Like, I see it a lot with language here too. Like, because the person doesn't understand you speaking English, but you chose to come to a country that speaks Spanish. So check yourself. Like, anyway, that's another point.
It just sounds like she don't think we should have any pride within ourselves. We should be more humble acting or submitted acting or whatever like that, and we come off as talkative. That's part of our characteristics. We're more talkative than most other groups of people because that's all that we have had that right to do, to talk, to express ourselves. And I guess she finds that kind of offensive that we're more into talking through things and trying to make things happen for ourselves. I don't get her point, because if you don't talk, you're going to get bulldozed over. You have to be very vocal these days. But again, I guess it's the cultural thing. But she's finding fault with our culture of thought, of how we are.
That I mean when I say Black Americans are exhausting. Like, you never know if things are going to pop off, and they're going to pop off. And being from a country where everybody looks at me, because I don't think that someone's out to get me personally because I'm Black, it's not entrenched in me to pop off like that. So I don't have that immediate pop off. And I'm coming from Jamaica, where we are known to be aggressive. We are known as an aggressive people. But our aggression it's different. It's very different. We're not just gonna be rude to wait staff, and we're aggressive, but we're not rude, if you get what I say. And that's the running joke when you go to a Jamaican restaurant in the States, right? When you go in there, they're gonna be very aggressive and short with you. But I don't think they're going to be rude. They're not going to be downright nasty to you. And there's a difference. That's the difference, I think, is that Black Americans, they're rude a lot. They're rude a lot. And the rudeness from a Black American, it's a lot of times they don't know that that's what they're doing. Because it's accepted internally. When you go at people's place, you can't talk to people in any way. Right. We have to realize that we are guests of this country. I've seen it here in Mexico far too times. Mexico's standard of living is quite different than an American standard of living. And if you choose to come here to live, especially, if you choose to come here even to visit on vacation and things are not up to standard, you're spending your money. You have two choices. You go where it's different or you leave. You don't come here and complain and then be rude to the people who are providing whatever product or service. Your choice is to accept the standard or to leave. Or,
So she doesn't think that we should say something if we don't find something pleasing. But if you're paying for money, you expect having a clean place, you expect to have certain things that's being advertised or something. She doesn't know specifically what happened to make someone speak out or lash out about service. But again, if we say anything, we're out of pocket. We're supposed to be, quiet. We're supposed to be humble. We're supposed to be lowly. That's how a lot of them think that's how we're supposed to behave. And we're not doing that. We have voices, we have rights. We're the poster child for, speaking out, But this is her opinion, I guess. We're rude. We're vocal. We're aggressive. Okay.
Like, I'm so confused at you leaving your country, going to another country. You're buying street food and you don't see no cleanliness around, and you are going to complain about how the people have been doing their thing for 50 years. Go somewhere else. Go to a restaurant. Do not partake. If you don't stand there and tell the person how to do what they're doing, you're not the food inspector. Like, I don't, and then you'll be rude to them. If an Uber comes to my place to pick me up and it is filthy and nasty and the windows are down, I am going to cancel the Uber and I will take the L, because when you cancel after the Uber don't reach, you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay a cancellation fee. But I don't want to get into that Uber. And so I'm going to cancel and be like, hell nah, bro. And just move on. I'm not going to sit there and cuss and be like, why is your AC not working? And how is your car so dirty? And blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take my money elsewhere. Or, well, you just lost some money, right? And so rightfully so, you're cussing in the back of your mind, say, why does not this place have better standards? But you work with what you are not going to come and change their way of living. So your two choices are to accept, meaning say you either go into the Uber and go on with your business, you buy the street food and go on with your business, or you leave, like, mind blown. You can complain to your little group of friends, sure, but you don't be nasty, unless the person is being nasty to you. Now, if the Uber turn around and start cuss you, sure, but you don't get into the car. The getting into the car is acceptance of the service level. So why are you cursing at the man on car dirty? You saw it. You saw the dirt. You saw the disgust. Leave. That is the option. That is the option. Don't turn around and curse the man for his dirty car. You accepted it. Because yes, the car is filthy, and I would never, ever, ever. You leave. And so if you cancel, there are options in the Uber that you now say, I'm not accepting this cancellation fee because blah, 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 blah. So you can take that up with the conglomerate, the big man making the money. Should affect change from there. But, like, anyways. So my point is,
when I say Black Americans are exhausting, it's just that having been so around them for these 2 years so much, I realize the othering that happens a lot. I realize that they not like us mentality. I realize, and I have seen, and I have experienced it's them versus us mentality a lot. And I don't know if Black Americans know that it is being perpetuated, because I threw myself into everything Black Americans do here. I threw myself into all the groups, becoming Black. So I was just happy to see Black people and just be around them and be like, hey, Black people, let's Black people together. And I am constantly reminded as another Black person that, oh, no, boo, no. So what do I hope to come out of this conversation is an understanding.
She said, no, boo. She might have had one bad experience with a Black American that was rude, and she's labeling all of us that way. She said, no, boo.
Is an understanding of why Black Americans think a lot of people don't like them. Here are the reasons why. From my perspective, me, Monique, Math, the traveling Jamaican, these are my reasons why I can say it's exhausting being around Black Americans some of the tandem. And so I have decided myself to limit my interaction and try to make sure I integrate into Mexico, because I'm Mexican, to come live and get more local friends. Because it's exhausting, bro.
Oh boy, let me see what you guys are saying. Hold on. Damn. I don't get the white part though. I'm still confused on why she said we are the white people of the Black people. So now y'all going to Africa or going wherever you go, Mexico, she claims, to see Black Americans trying to colonize people. Oh, people are saying whatever, man. They don't want us to have no standards. They just want us to just be lowly. They don't want us to have no pride within ourselves. They want us to be quiet. They want us to be silent. They want us to be seen and not heard. We're not doing none of that. But she might have had a bad experience with one of them. And now she's just, again, she's in Mexico right now. She's the traveling Jamaican. And she's had experiences supposedly with Black Americans in Mexico. And she is making a broad statement about us. But I think this obsession that a lot of them are having is being displayed on YouTube, actually. Let me go back up. You said, I have tried a goat dish here in Houston, and to be honest, it wasn't bad at all, but that about it, Safe Brother says. I'm pretty sure I would like something, but I don't think I would like all of it because, you know, every time I turn around, I hear that they're into spice. So I can't handle a whole dish full of spice. It would be irritating to my stomach and probably my taste buds. I like to dip in and out of spices. Anyways, okay, your landlord's there. Miss D says, we don't share culture in at all. That's okay. God made many people. Respect everyone is all that matters. Agree to disagree and don't attack each other. That's what I say. Just agree to disagree. I can respect where you are, respect where I'm at. Just stop telling me I need to make myself over to be received and accepted. And a lot of times we're hearing that we got to do something to be received and accepted. Like we got to break ourselves down. That's what people are telling us. And that's what I rebuke. I can be myself. You be yourself. Don't try to tell me I got to make myself over for you. The fuck? For River says, she did a clickbait. Apparently so. Made people watch her whole video before she got to the titles meaning. Exactly. That was ridiculous. Miss D says, I tried fufu. I didn't like it. The dough was raw and you had to dip it in some greens and some kind of meat. So it wasn't that good. Yeah, I see those dishes. I'm curious about it, but if I can't find it where I'm at, I ain't going there. That's for damn sure. It ain't that serious. Say brother says, if anyone can give anything to help the passport traveler to get back home for Black, I hope you don't mind me putting her Cash App in the chat. No, I don't mind at all. Anyone that wants to help her out, please help her out. Ezekiel Henderson says, I'm Jamaican and this is cringe. She's doing too much. She's chose to immigrate to America crazy. No, she's in Mexico right now, Ezekiel, but she has been in America, and she's just claiming that her experience with us has not really been satisfactory, and that we are high mighty in her mind, and that we are aggressive, and that we're too talkative and too vocal about complaining about what we don't like. I mean, sometimes you can see that, but I wouldn't say all of us are like that. It just depends on the situation. But we are going to speak out if we don't like something or we feel some kind of way. I think that's how we're rigged, to kind of respond to stuff that triggers us. And maybe people think that we should be able to counteract our response, I guess. But we're reactive type of people, you know. Some more than others, but we're not all the same. It just depends on the situation. Yes, respect, like Aretha said, Four Rivers says. Yep. Hello to y'all that hasn't been in the chat room, by the way. Thank you. If you could, please like and share the video. This is an honest conversation that I'm having, and hoping that people think more about how people expect us as Black Americans to somehow measure up to their thinking. It's very interesting. Miss D says, in France, in America, you Black according to white people, but I are melanated to me, but they are melanated to me. Yep. For River says, I don't know of many Black Americans that are that paranoid about their skin color. Many have never experienced blatant racism on an individual level. I have seen racism throughout my life, but you know, I don't see it every single day. I don't put myself in a position to have people in crowds, or, I mean, I try my best to put myself in the best situation and scenario. Actually, I had more problems with Black folks. There was an incident that happened a few days ago. This Black woman was in a wheelchair, and she had a question for somebody that was the cashier. She wasn't buying anything, and she's holding up the line, and I have stuff in my hands, and I'm trying to, you know, get things out of my hands. I had like an energy drink that was getting cold in my hands that I was holding, so I wanted to set it on the conveyor belt. She had a problem with me setting the stuff on the conveyor belt. She turns around talking about wait, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Wait, why don't you move up? Because she was next, but she was like at the back of the line trying to hold us back. And I'm like, can't you scoot up? And she goes to try to cuss me out. So I cussed her out. I don't give a damn. If you're going to cuss, I'm going to cuss you out. And I told her, I said, I can understand why you have a miserable life. And I asked the lady to call somebody else to open up the other line. And I went to the other line and paid for my stuff and went. But she only had a question, and whatever she asked for, they didn't have. All that extra energy that she was given was not warranted. I just wanted to let go of stuff that I was holding, that she was taking up time, like doing something. And it was like, I have more problems with Black folks just having attitudes for no reason. I digress. But anyways, sometimes you will have an incident with white folks too. They will have this entitlement about themselves, or, you know, try to be all dismissive. And I've had incidences like that as well. So in America, you get a little bit of anything, pretty much. But there is racism. I just try my best not to deal with white people aggressively, just like I try to not deal with Black people aggressively. Unless you bring it to me, then I'll be aggressive to you. It just depends on how you match me. I don't like to talk out of, you know, aggressively or cussing and all that, but if you cussing me out, I'm gonna cuss you out. I'm just gonna match your energy. So that's kind of like what happened, and I didn't care that she was in a wheelchair, because if you're gonna talk slick, then you can get dealt with slick. And then she took off, luckily. But I had already been dealt with in the other line, and I went out the way. But I wasn't going to sit up there and just let her hold me from not taking care of my stuff, like barring me. So anyways, that was kind of a ridiculous situation that happened. You said in the United States, the elites who control the media basically keep the race issue going. I think a lot of that is being done on purpose by these melanated black folks. Like, they are the ones that are uploading videos. They're the ones that are having these panels of conversations about Black Americans. They're the ones that are having Twitter spaces and arguing about who we are and what we're calling ourselves. I think a lot of that's being done by them. I don't think it has anything to do with the white media. That's the platform provided for them. But I think that they're thinking to keep this rhetoric going, this propaganda going, that there's something wrong with Black Americans if we somehow don't change our mindset. That's the conclusion I'm gathering from all these uploaded videos. Like, somehow we're off. And we need to get our shit together, as if everybody else got their shit together. If they had their shit together, they would not be over here in America arguing with me about who I am. It's just really weird. Anyways, Miss D says, someone said that Caribbeans feel they have more in common with Latinos. Yeah, I've heard that before. I think the rapper, what's his name? Busta Rhymes said something like that. For River says the Caribbeans might feel more Latino because at one time Spain ruled many of those islands until the wars kicked them out. Oh, wow. See, I didn't even understand that. That's why. That's interesting. See, I didn't even know that history. Thank you for sharing that. Ashley says there is the one Nigerian channel who says that Black Americans owe African reparations. They are pushing this. Exactly, Ashley. That is the, what's his name? That's the one that Happy Travel, Passport Traveler had some beef with. I forgot his name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. They really feel this way. And you have Ghana that's trying to get our reparations now. They had a forum, a summit, talking about reparations that belong to us. And they're talking about reparations that they want taken from us going to Africa, and everybody's acting as if we're supposed to be in love with Africans when they're outright trying to steal from us. And they have made it known. We want reparations towards Africa. That means that they don't want us having reparations. But y'all not gathering that part, and y'all still worshiping Africans. Y'all still going to Ghana. I say boycott Ghana. I don't give a fuck about Ghana, because I already see what they're trying to do and what they have already done. But everybody talking about this global love we supposed to be having for these people. It's ridiculous. But they really feel that we owe Africa, and we don't. Miss D says they are full of it. Many say go build African and Caribbean, and we are few. Go over there and they invest. We are colonizers. Again, you can't do nothing right. They just want our money, though. Again, once our resources are fucked off and we're broken down to nothing, things gonna really change for us. I hope that we understand that we do not want to be in that predicament. And that's what people are hoping to see us decline in such a way. We cannot have a leg up. They would like to see America destroyed so that we can be like done over against our will. People have visions of this. People want us not here in America. They want us somewhere else struggling. That's what y'all not gathering. That's why they're upset and jealous of us, because we are here in America and we are American. They don't want us claiming that identity. They really don't want us claiming that identity. Pan-Africans are fighting tooth and nail to say you're not American. That's why they're anti-Black American. They're anti-us. Y'all gonna get it before it's over. You said prayers to Palestine, but this channel deals with indigenous Black American issues. Yes, it does. I have touched on their war a little bit. but unfortunately it's something that I don't understand, nor the outcome has anything to do with my life. And most people don't care about the predicaments of Black people, but they want us caring about their predicaments. Very interesting how that goes. Miss D says it's the third world. That's why they fleeing over here, UK, wherever around the world. Exactly. If it was a good situation, y'all would not be leaving. So for us to say it should not be insulting to y'all. It's the truth. Saying that the Congo has forced labor and child mining, this and that and the other, cobalt and other things that's going on over there in other places. It's just pointing out what is going on over there. We're not making fun over it by acknowledging that this is the predicament. But again, when we say it, somehow they deem it to be like we think we're superior. We don't think we're superior. We're just pointing out what it is. And somehow we're supposed to not point it out. We're supposed to pretend that it's such a beautiful thing and everything's perfect. We love everything pertaining to Africa and all the other places that's Black melanated people. And they have these expectations that we're supposed to just believe and think better of their situation than they can. That doesn't make sense. How are we going to recreate in our mind that those places are paradise when you don't deem it that? How is that possible for us to do it? You said, Four Rivers said, Ashley, how does Black Americans owe Africa? That's what Corporate Junkie said that. That's the name of the channel. Corporate Junkie has a video to claiming that we have been reaping the benefits of the purging and pillaging of Africa and other melanated global Blacks. And because of that, we owe reparations to the global Blacks. That's what he had the nerve to say. We don't owe anybody anything. But they're trying to make that in our mind, fixing that in our mind to believe. And a lot of these Pan-Africans are trying to put that in our mind to believe. It's really, really odd. You said, yes, I know. If anything, they've owed any African that they sold into slavery. Yeah, they should be owing, if you really want to be clear about it, for what they did to discard the so-called ancestor of Africa, if there is one. The tragedy that they cause, again, they feel as if we're slaves still, and that we are bounded to the notion of transactions, and they don't look at us as being who we think ourselves as being, y'all. In other words, we're old slaves, slave babies. A lot of people perceive us as that. They want us to be debt slaves to debt of Africa. They call that shit unity. They want to strip us of our reparations and call that shit unity. They want us worshiping Africans in Africa. Make it make sense. Make that make sense. It don't make sense. Ashley says, I sat there and watched it. Yep, they are saying because we benefited from what our government did, we owe them. I asked, where are the reparations from Africa selling their people into slavery? Exactly. You get nothing from what you did to our ancestor. You don't get to do that and benefit off of me now. But that's their mindset. They still feel like we are owing them because we were slaves before. Or some of us, not all of us. Safe Brother says, I wish they would get off of that and acknowledge their role in the slave trade and pay up to the descendants here in America and anywhere else. They don't look at it like that. They look at us as commodity. They have never changed their mindset, but we are deluding ourselves to think that they think of us kindly and nicely. And that's just not the reality. They look at us as dollars, as opportunities to make more money, to bond us to their debt. That's how they envision us, incorporating us, manipulating us. And that's why they have an issue with us identifying ourselves as American, because if we clave and cling to the notion of America, they can't manipulate us better or more. It's harder to manipulate. Yes, they owe Black Americans that might have got here due to them selling them into slavery. Four Rivers says, I personally don't think the majority of Black Americans were sold by them, but we're already here. We know that, but the few that did make it here did intermingle. That's why I say it's possible that we could have African in us, but that's not all of us. We do still have a direct line here in America that people don't want us claiming, and they don't understand being here for hundreds of years. This is all we know. We don't really care to change for the most part. And Pan-Africans and leaning Pan-Africans feel like we ought to feel obligated to change, to think different, to be different, to transform ourselves for this falsehood. We're being sold that right now, this dream. And I'm trying to wake y'all from this lie of a dream. It's not real. It's not tangible. Everybody else is moving different. You're the only one that's being dumbed down and being bullied by these groups of melanated global folks. And I'm trying to wake y'all up from that slumber of thinking, because it's not a benefit for us to be dumbed down and manipulated in such a way. Edek says the lady is batshit crazy and dangerous to Black Americans. Edek says, how you doing, Edek? She's weird. I don't even know what the point of her video was. That was a whole video of nothingness for the most part, except for saying we're aggressive and loud and talk too much. Four Rivers says, say, brother, yes, if they sold anyone, then they can owe those people's descendants. How could the victims' children owe them? That's how you know we're not like them. Again, they have this notion that we were slaves and that we are bounded to them as commodities. They never have looked at us as their people. They've looked at us as commodities. That's it. You're doing yourself into thinking that those people over there that have that mindset is your people. You're the only one fooling yourself. They're letting you know, though, bit by bit, how much they give a damn about you. They don't. Ashley says, if I can put the channel in the chat, I will the next time I'm here. Which channel are you referring to, Ashley? Okay, Say Brother says they got the bad end of the deal. They got umbrellas and water bottles and liquor out of the slave trade, and the United States got rich economy. Overall, they feel cheated. That's what it is. Exactly, Say Brother. They're just mad that they didn't benefit better off of what they did. They're not having no shame or qualms about the slave trade. They have pride about it. They're just mad that they didn't benefit better. They want to redo. They want to do over. They want us to build their economies like we did for America. They want us to be the working horse, the slave of old for them. They don't have no love for us. Y'all deluding yourself into thinking they do. And we're talking about the corrupt governments and the overall locals. You have exceptions to the rule. You have some that can be doable, that can be friendly. But overall, the consensus is you are usable and disposable and discardable. Because they have a jealousy, they felt like we have a leg up. And they have a disdain for us. This is coming out more and more and more. Easy Access, is she just ranting or does she have a point she's trying to make? She's bores me. I wouldn't even want to be romantic with her. She take it too long, Easy Access. I heard that. Jamaicans have weird, different kind of arrogance. EDAC. Yes, they do. They really do. For River says, yes, the Africans are always getting the bad end of the deal. Now the Indians and Chinese are said to be exploiting them. Yup. And they're not even upset about it. They're talking about us. Ashley says, island people aggression is passive. Black Americans aggressive is upfront. But because they're sly with it, they feel they are better. It don't make sense. You're still doing the same thing. But you think it looks better, in other words. They think they look better doing it, I guess. Miss D says she's lying because you said you Jamaican and you don't understand black or racism. Exactly. She says she don't get it. And she's upset that, we still have our mindset. Like, we're not changing for y'all. The hell? Say Brother says it's sad to some degree because the African continent has everything it needs to sustain itself and its people to become a first world nation. However, their mindset has not changed. And whose fault and problem is that? They got comfortable doing what they did, and now they're way behind. And they're trying to make us the problem now about their situation. Just think about that. Everybody scapegoats to us. I'm sick of that. Y'all need to self-sacrifice to better the conditions on the ground. And if you won't do it, don't look to us as an option. It's simple. We're not your option. And people are looking at us as if we are. It's very weird and strange. For River says she should be glad that Black Americans are honest about the fact that she's different. Jamaicans do the same thing. They do. What's up, Charlie? How you doing? You said, yes, the African need a new mindset. The one they have, or the ones that leave and become educated, don't seem to be effective in uplifting the mentality there. They live their life and don't look back for the most part. That's what they do. But they expect us somehow to reinvent ourselves and go over there and pretend to be like superheroes that can do things that nobody else could dare do. It's like we are not trying to get that type of energy or interaction. Even if these dumb Pan-Africans talk like that, that's all they're doing. They're jabbering, gibbering. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're liars, pretenders, posers. That's what y'all are. Great liars to Black Americans. Y'all need to shut the fuck up. Easy Access, she says we are aggressive. Has she looked at Europeans worldwide, the most aggressive people on the planet? Easy Access, facts. For River says what immigrating people of color don't realize is that Black Americans are still recovering from many traumas, epidemics, wars, etc. But despite all of that, many have embraced and accepted others. We're just trying to stand as best we can. Like I said, people are trying to knock us down, though. They're really trying to make us the focus of all their woes. Yes, this corporate junkie. Yeah, he's an arrogant Nigerian. He is always talking about Black Americans. He's obsessed talking about us. Say Brother says, facts, how many atomic weapons did Black Americans drop on anyone? Who did we send to death camps or intern I'll wait for the answer. Nothing and nobody. We had our own hell that we've been going through while supposedly Africa was being pillaged. But who helped pillage Africa? The Africans. They were in business with these people and got turned on. Whose fault was that? Theirs. They allowed these people to hang out with them, and then they turned on them and colonized them. We don't have nothing to do with that. That's your fault. Say Brother says, how many? Okay, I read that. Hold on. True. I wonder if many people blame the indigenous Black Americans for the attacks that they have suffered by the United States, which is the government that rules America. A lot of them are trying to argue the point that because some of us are in the military, which ironically, a lot of Pan-Africans are ex-military, and they were ordered to do different things. They assume because they are part of the arm of military that we're just as guilty, to have happened, whatever. But again, we are American first. Pan-Africans that are ex-military are American first. They're pretending to not be American first suddenly, which makes me believe Go Black to Africa, Afro Think Tank, Happy Companion, and all the other military are sent, because it's just weird how they just preaching on Africa all the time. Every waking moment they're preaching on Africa, worshiping Africa. It's ridiculous. Miss D says, that's funny if we go down, which I doubt, the whole house of cards fall for the melanated people around the world. Everyone eat off of us. Again, when we fall, it's just going to be joining in the festivities of what's going on globally. That's just it. We're trying to hold on as best we can to not fall to the point where we're on the level of a global, unfortunate melanated Black that's going through situations such as Haiti. I don't want to see that. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like however they're living in Africa. You know, I didn't cause those issues. I'm not going to act like I caused those conditions. I'm not going to put that on myself. That's how people want us to act like. That's how they want us to think. That's how they want us to feel. I'm not feeling that way. No. Correction, foreigners shouldn't blame the indigenous Black Americans for any crimes that the United States has done to them. Black Americans wasn't included into the United States corporation country until recent times and aren't guilty. Again, they put us through hell here in America while they was putting y'all through hell over there. So we had our own war, our own situations, our own battles to deal with. We weren't living comfortably. We weren't satisfied and living good off the hog. We weren't having celebrations and carrying on. We were suffering in our own way with the conditions of America of that time. So we're not guilty for anything that has happened by this government or other colonizers or whatever. We don't have nothing to do with that. The ones that are in the military, they're American. What they're supposed to act like? They're supposed to be your ally suddenly because you say they're American. Again, we are American until we embrace that fact. We're going to keep having issues with pan-Africanism. Easy X says, come on, chat, and for Black Africans in Africa is behind more than third world in a lot of areas. They are still primitive. They are not Wakanda yet, a long way from it. We are better than them, no cap. Well, I would say that the conditions on the ground in a lot of these melanated global areas is just not doable for most of us because that's just not our reality here in America. And I think that's where a lot of the jealousy stems from because people feel like we should be experiencing the types of realities that other melanated people are experiencing. But it's, again, we are not from these other areas. We are American. That's our reality for the most part. Those that are venturing to try out different things are doing it at their own risk. And most times it ends not good. So again, it's a trap set for many of y'all that take chances going over there to Africa as you're finding out. I don't think it's worth the risk, personally. I would never risk going over there. I wouldn't put my trust on them. I wouldn't trust them. No. Personally, I wouldn't. I couldn't. For Rivers, I wonder that too, because the latest coup was done by a Congolese American. They called him a Black American. I was so upset about that. That was Go Black to Africa, I think, also called him a Black American or African American. Like I said, they're deliberately mixing us up, and it's really frustrating. Corporate junkie, yup. He is a Nigerian clown. For Rivers says, yes, I think they want to make it look like Black Americans are willing to start a coup or war in Africa. Not exactly. They put the spin to make it seem like we are really trying to do something over there. And this guy is a Congolese American. It has nothing to do with us. We ain't going over there battling for Africa or trying to take over. But that's the way in the which they try to claim because he was born in America, suddenly he's a Black American. He's a Congolese American. He has nothing to do with our history. He was just born here. They're going to be upset with me re-exposing that money ritual family reunion. Yeah, I've seen you keep playing it. Why don't you just leave it up? I thought you were going to talk about what happened in the bathroom. I've been waiting for that. video, Alexis. Yes, that video was something else. Yeah, it was something else, but I'm waiting for that bathroom episode. Miss D says, right, for Black, they want us to change our customs to fit African. We're not interested. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with us if we want to stay as we've been. Who the fuck are they to come along talking about you need to be done over? You're not good enough. You need to upgrade and worship us and change everything about yourself. I don't think so. Get the fuck out of my face. Four Rivers says, yes, it's ironic how much of these Pan-Africans are willing to serve in the United States military. There's something weird about that. Alexis says, I created a 3-minute clip of that family reunion. Did you? Oh, okay, I have to go see that. Easy Axe, just to be clear, I didn't become a panty. Sorry to admit that until I left the military. Otherwise, I would have been conflicted. I just fell for the Kool-Aid after I resigned the military. What made you want to look into Pan-Africanism, Easy Axe? I mean, were you introduced through a friend, a book? I mean, what sparked you to even look and delve into that mindset? I mean, what triggered you to try to be Pan-African? Can I ask you that? Because I'm clueless on how even someone can just formulate fables in your mind that's not matching up to the reality anywhere. I don't understand. I don't know how you can think bigger than the reality that's everywhere. You have to like dumb yourself down to believe so hard in something. It don't make sense. You said, Four Rivers says, Martin Luther King said 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of the American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. Black Americans didn't see themselves as Africans. No, we don't. We have not. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I have one more video to show y'all. There are a lot of Africans that are asking the question, as usual, something pertaining to us. And this question, African diaspora got a video of a lady who was asking the question, why are we staying in America where we're not wanted? Then why are immigrants coming to America? She should say that at the same time. But again, it's always, why y'all in America? Again, they don't want us there, but they don't mind being there. They just don't want us there. They want to replace us. But listen to this.
You know, we have a sister here that's actually on the continent. She's not here in America. And she's reaching out to Black Americans just to let them know that, you know, you do have options. You don't have to sit up here and put up with these people all your life. You can return to, you know, the motherland if you so choose to. But let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Dear Black Americans, you are taught that Africans, we are savages. We are not. We are cultured. We are educated. We are knowledgeable. Unfortunately, we are poor on the surface. But beneath us, we have everything the whole world needs. They tell you this to try stop you from coming back to motherland because you are the very, very backbone that builds the economy. If you were to relocate back to Africa, you would disable them as a continent. Africa is the only place you would never be racially discriminated against. Africa is the only place where you will never have to fear if you will die the next day or not. Black Americans, you are us. We care about you. We need you as much as you need us. Your color tells you who you are and where you belong. Stop forcing yourself to fit in places you'll never fit.
What made me want to make this video is really...
Again, who is she to tell us anything? Tell the immigrants not to come up over there. Talk to them. Why is everybody adding us, talking to us, giving us advice? We don't need it. We're not asking for it. Worry about yourself. Worry about your people. Again, he brings all this propaganda to us every time I turn around.
Last part of what she said about paraphrasing. You know, being places that you're not wanted.
Your color tells you who you are and where you belong. Stop forcing yourself to fit in places you'll never fit.
In America, every single day we are seeing more and more how this system doesn't want Black Americans here. They're importing people into this country who isn't citizens at all, and they're putting them in the Black neighborhoods. And a lot of Black Americans say, okay, what is this about? Why are they doing all that? Why are they trying to push us out of our own communities? You look at what's happening in Chicago right now. People are pissed off because of what they're trying to do. Now, my personal experience, of course, in African countries I've been to, no, I've never been discriminated against for no skin color, no. No, I didn't have any issues with the police. I didn't feel the energy that I normally would feel here in America. Now, let's be realistic. The police in African countries, they can get turned up. They can. But I'm not trying to have no interactions with them when they feel like they need to do that with me, right? But for me, I've always said this before, I have more peace when I'm on the African continent. I'm telling you, just being away from the white supremacists, even if for a short time, gives you a peace that really...
Again, he's an agent for travel. This is his spill. This is his side gig to get us to go travel, to get us to go venture over to Africa, to put that in our spirit to go. Again, he is propaganda. He is sent. He's sponsored. This is all he talks on. So he's bringing an African to talk about, oh, you don't really belong there. You should come out and go to Africa where you belong and be around your people. But we have immigrants that's fighting tooth and nail to become us, to replace us. That's the reality of what's going on. But people are steadily trying to dismantle our mindset, they hope, to make us putty in the hand, to be manipulated and controlled and told what to do, how to feel, how to be. And you have the likes of this influencer in Phil Scott, who thinks that he has all the answers for us. Again, an agent is what he is, though.
I gotta have that peace. If I could just be out of here every 3 months, if I could take off every 3 months for a week, I'm good. Being away from the white supremacists, it is peace. It really is. And when you don't know that feeling of peace, sometimes you can get upset about it. You feel like, oh, well, why y'all always talking about that? But what the sister said is, it's true. That's why I say, you know what? Okay, I need to figure out what I need to do. That way, when the day and time come, then I can do that because I just enjoy that. I enjoy watching the ocean, and I enjoy the good food and being around people that look like me and don't have to worry about all the issues and problems that we have in America. Them important people weaponized against the black man and woman of America. So that's all they're doing is important people all over the place.
Again, you got to spend money to go to Africa. He has a lot of money because he's been hustling the community, and he is trying to get you to fly and risk going to Africa. And again, we're finding more and more why that's problematic and why they're jealous and why they only want our money and they think we owe them, on and on and on and on. So again, that's a Pan-African leaning guy, if not a Pan-African for pay. I don't respect Phil Scott. I don't like him. Again, he doesn't like Black Americans overall. He doesn't respect us, but he wants us exalting Africa and Africans for his sake and his side hustle. He's married to a Mexican again, and he's trying to be a Pan-African. But anybody can be a Pan-African. Anyone that wants to spew rhetoric about African or Africa can become a Pan-African. Also, okay, you're going to do an episode for the bathroom soon. You have some things to address offline. Okay, Lexus. And Miss D says, why are there 5 million Africans here in our land? She's not my sister. I only claim FBA that I will respect everyone. Africans slowly being divided by colonization or colonialism. Now, can't say that word. Yeah, that's surprising to me. She doesn't have a message for her own people. The Africans that fled to America, she's specifically targeting us. Isn't that interesting how she omitted talking to them about what they need to do with coming back to Africa? We need you. Why don't you need them? Why don't they belong in Africa? Huh? Why are they always skipping their own people talking to us? It's annoying. Our color don't say we African. If that's the case, Indian would be African. Exactly. Bingo. A lot of them are darker than I am. Easy X says being a Pan-African is also the reason I left the culty. I don't know what you mean by that. The cult. Oh, left the cult. Was a seeker of truth, not illusion, and I finally saw the proper path I should take. It was the same for religion with me, but that's another topic. Yeah, I don't believe in religion no more. I think it's a lot of people is revering the pastor over God, and it just got kind of weird because people's perception of the Bible, you can read a verse in the Bible and get different meanings from different people, or different people that have different understandings. I believe to be spiritual. I think that the Bible can be used as a tool to understand God a little bit, but I think it has been tampered with, the Bible, and so it's not of God completely. But some things in it does make sense. It's just really strange about religion, though. I don't claim religion anymore. Phil, once again, when you leaving for Africa, if you feel comfortable over there, we waiting for you to leave. He's never going to do that. He just want to keep trying to get us to go travel and make us guilted about why ain't we trying to touch down and visit. That's the whole gimmick of what he got going. Try to get us to go visit. And then some, once they visit, is going to think that they can go move there. And they don't understand the attitude and the temperament of Africa. Miss D says, I bet you if that lady had the chance to leave, she would come over here. Exactly. If she was offered a ticket to come to America, she would be in America. But you're telling us why we want to be somewhere where we're not wanted. The fuck? For River says, many Africans got misinformed about what was going on in America after the George Floyd incident and the marches seen on TV. That's not the common experience for most Americans. Yeah, we don't usually get done dirty like cops, but like that. He was not in the right frame of mind. I think he was high, and I think he escalated it by being nervous or anxious on the drug, which caused the police officer, to do too much manhandling on him. So I think in that instance, George Floyd kind of created an atmosphere to be done aggressive, but I just wish that it would not been to his death. I think that it was extreme because he had him in a hold for a long time before he went out with his knee on his neck and whatnot. So it's inexcusable what that police officer did, but I do understand when a drug person is high and how they act, you don't know what they're capable of. So he did put him in the messed up mindset of being aggressive with him to begin with. Africa ain't enough. McDonald's for Uncle Phil and the Butcher Bear guy. Okay, Easy X. Okay. So anyways, like I said in closing, y'all, I don't even know what time is on my phone because my phone had clocked out with the internet and I came back on and it has like a weird timing on this live that I have never seen before. It's kind of weird. How long have I been on this live? Does it tell y'all? Can you tell me how long I've been on? It's interesting, though, talking about these migrants, though. And again, they are here to replace us and squeeze us out. 2 hours? Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. There are people that... Oh, I got the wrong video. Hold on. There are illegal aliens that are doing anything, seems like, and getting away with it. Remember those illegal Venezuelan migrants that had assaulted police officers, I think? After their case was dismissed, apparently these same illegal Venezuelan migrants ended up shooting New York officers. I haven't seen this video before, but let me see what this is about.
Where a man was targeted, it's almost exclusively women that are under attack by these these illegal immigrant Venezuelan migrants who are predominantly male committing these crimes, right? So let's get into it, because there's an interesting tidbit of information concerning this case that was just released recently, right? So most of you might know about this case already, but what many of you don't know is that his immigration case has been dismissed. Now, it wasn't dismissed after he shot the 2 cops, but prior to him shooting the 2 cops, his immigration case was dismissed. So we're going to get into what all that actually means as we go through this article here. And yes, the link to this article will be in the description box.
And the reason why I'm showing this is because the immigrants are getting more rights than Americans. Again, they are getting away with almost murder, if not murder. It's just a sad time to be here in America, and it's going to get worse. Supposedly, the border is now being disallowing immigrants from coming in, but it's a little bit too late. And the crime rate this summer, I think, is going to be really, really bad in those areas of the sanctuary cities, because they can't keep housing these people in these homeless shelters. It is going to be blistering hot. People are going to get more angered in the heat. I foresee a whole lot of crimes happening just like this. And again, they're being treated with kid gloves in a lot of cases when they're terrorizing, our communities. And it's kind of sad that a lot of Black folks are going to have to deal with these migrants in New York or Chicago or wherever they are. It's just a sad time to see.
So you can read it for yourself in entirety without my commentary. Now, this article is titled, "Migrant Accused of Shooting 2 NYPD Cops Had Immigration Case Dismissed Within a Year of Illegally Crossing into the U.S." Let's get into it. The Venezuelan migrant accused of shooting 2 NYPD cops during the early hours of Monday morning crossed into the U.S. illegally last year, but the case against him has already been dismissed, the Post can exclusively reveal. Bernardo Castro Mata, 19 years old, who shot one officer in the chest and the other one in the leg after they attempted to stop his moped in Queens, had a hearing in Chicago on May 6, where an immigration judge closed his case, according to ICE sources. Now, remember what we discussed in one of our live streams here, sometime it was last week. And that's why you all need to be subscribed to the channel and hit that bell notification so you're informed of when I go live as well. Because we discussed how Biden is fast-tracking asylum seeker claims. But what we didn't know was that what that meant, from what it seems like here, is that fast-tracking the claims means we're just dismissing them altogether. The information emerged less than 24 hours after the Post exposed the Biden administration's dismissal of asylum cases and deportation orders against 350,000 migrants because they didn't have criminal records or aren't deemed a national security threat. Those migrants are also under no obligation to leave the country and no longer monitored by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, making them undocumented. The Biden administration is allowing foreigners to violate our immigration laws at every possible opportunity with no finality, no resolution of their cases. And that's exactly what's going on right now. We're allowing this mass asylum fraud to take place, and there isn't any type of real resolution happening, which is deportation. Deportation is the only resolution that needs to be happening when we're faced with so many fraudulent asylum cases, especially when they're committing violent crimes like this. But what's crazy about all this is that this individual right here that shot 2 cops and is a suspect in a host of other robberies and purse snatchings, he's not going to get deported. He's not going to get deported. He'll get a slap on the wrist. He might do a little bit of time in jail. I don't know. Maybe 2 years, something like that. 3 years tops. I don't know. Something like that. And then he'll be re-released back into the citizen population of New York City. But he's not getting deported. Even if there's an ICE detainer that's been put out on him for NYPD to hand him over to ICE, NYPD is not allowed to honor that detainer because New York City is a sanctuary city in which they are not allowed by law to collaborate with ICE, right? And they're not allowed to partner with ICE in order to remove illegal immigrants off the street. They're not allowed to do that. But let's get back into this article. This is just the latest example proving that the government does not have the capacity to adequately vet large numbers of people randomly pouring across our borders. Former ICE Chief of Staff John Fear, who is now at the Center for Immigration Studies, told the Post Mata illegally crossed the border into Eagle Pass, Texas, where he was caught and arrested but later released in 2023. The Venezuelan national failed to provide an address to authorities, which assigned him an immigration court in Chicago for proceedings, according to an ICE source. Now, mind you, he never lived in Chicago, because if you read other articles about him, which this article doesn't get into, he always stayed in New York. For the most part, he was held up at a hotel in New York this entire time. But ICE had him registered in Chicago. So it goes to show how backwards the entire system is altogether. ICE didn't respond to the Post when reached for comment about Mata's case, because obviously the Post wants to know, well, wait a minute, this guy's been in New York the entire time. Why did you have him assigned to Chicago? But here's the thing, and the reason that I have that highlighted in blue. I don't put anything on ICE. I don't charge ICE with anything negative. Everything goes back to Biden and the DNC, because they are the ones who allowed this madness to continue and to go on. And I should say they're the ones that started this, right, and opened the floodgates to illegal immigration to begin with. You can't be mad at ICE when they're not given the tools to do their job, and you literally have a president sitting in office who refuses to cooperate with them and allow them to do their job in any meaningful capacity, alongside with mayors and governors of states like Illinois, Chicago, New York City, Los Angeles, California, where they won't cooperate with ICE either. You have an entire political apparatus right now that refuses to cooperate in any meaningful capacity with ICE to remove illegal immigrants off the streets and to deport them. So once again, I say all that to say, I get why ICE wouldn't respond to them, because I'm sure they're very embarrassed by all this, but I don't put any of the blame on ICE. They're doing the best they can when they're literally dealing with opposition on all sides when it comes to them just simply trying to do their job. So I just wanted to make that point very clear, and hopefully you all have that same understanding as well. Now let's carry on. The sweeping closing of cases by the Biden administration means the migrants are not granted or denied asylum, but their case is removed from immigration courts altogether. Once cases are closed, the subject is no longer in removal proceedings to deport them, which is the government's default position for all immigrants admitted at the border. Such migrants can't apply for benefits, financial aid, a work permit, or vote in elections, immigration lawyers have told the Post. However, once a case is terminated, they can reapply for asylum or seek other forms of legal status in the U.S. And here's the thing also, right? And I don't have that highlighted as a standout point, but I should have. Though they can't technically apply for benefits, financial aid, work permits, and things of that nature, that's not necessarily true. In sanctuary cities like where I am in Los Angeles, they have a host of benefits that they can apply for. They have a host of benefits that they can apply for. And I'm pretty sure that in New York and Chicago, where they haven't implemented specific benefits that are directly for illegal immigrants that they can apply for, in areas where they haven't applied that yet, they will. So that really doesn't mean anything. That really doesn't mean anything. Just because you're an illegal immigrant doesn't mean that you're now barred from being able to participate in these entitlements, you can call them.
And that's gonna get worse and worse and worse for, monies that should be applied to other communities that are American, and somehow it's gonna be drying up. We have our own war going on, with being squeezed out here in America on purpose, and that's why Pan-Africans are loving these trials and tribulations that we're facing in America, so that they can convey to us better and trick us even further into the mindset of believing that our paradise awaits us in Africa. So this is the dilemma that we're having, and the jealousy, again, that most people have is our birthright here in America. They feel like we shouldn't have that. And that's evident with all this emphasis and talks about what we're saying, how we identify, you know, what we want to do, how we want to be, what we're talking on. They think that we should not be consumed with our own survival and be consumed by everybody else's plight, which does not make sense, because ain't nobody thinking about ours, they're thinking about theirs. So we should be doing the same thing to survive, and understand that a lot of things is happening on purpose, and we're going to have to really get our mindset together on what we are going to consider ourselves. Again, we are American, and again, Pan-Africans are trying to unpry that notion from us, try to remix us and tell us that we are not belonging here and that we need to go to Africa. Again, that mindset and that propaganda that's being levied only towards Americans, Black Americans, is the reason why I talk about Pan-Africanism as much as I do. I see Pan-Africanism as a way of bankrupting Black Americans. It's been shown time and time again how that's happening. Hopefully people will understand that we are a targeted group, and to stop being willful fools and sheep for the slaughter. I am going to do the video on the land scam that Go Black is going to be talking about in a couple of days. He got more cases about what's going on in Ghana. Hopefully people will stop flocking over there and worshiping that fucking country. It does not make sense to do. They're bankrupting you. Stop being their willful fool. Stop believing in the hype of Pan-Africanism. Stop. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay. Let me go back up. Thank you for getting rid of that troll. I was about to. Okay, 2 hours. They are UN peacekeepers. There's something. I heard of that story, if that was us. Some are Chinese military. Yeah, they got a lot of Chinese people over here too, Ashley. Please like and share the video. Please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. For River says, yes, now that the country is full of whoever wanted to enter the country, they are closing the border kind of late, very late. They're all in. TD Jakes is Haitian? He's okay. That's interesting. He's never said that. Where'd you hear that at, Charlie Shaw? For River says the handling of this migrant mess has been totally incompetence. Officials, politicians, etc. should be held accountable. I don't understand why Biden is not being impeached. That's how bad he is handled this crisis with migrants. It's really gonna have a ripple effect on a lot of different programs and stuff. It's just gonna be a lot of bad times coming. A lot of bad times coming. But I'm gonna keep updating y'all on what's happening in New York and Chicago and whatever's going on. I just can't be there every single day because it's very depressing to see how that's what's going on over there. Easy Access, plenty of Black and white liberals that have no problem with illegal migrants coming into the country. They will actually die for them. What? That's sad. That is sad. Sacrifice yourself for people that don't even care about you. I'm about to play some music. I don't know if you guys remember this song by Donny Hathaway, but it's called Jealous Guy. I thought it was interesting to match the jealousy that immigrants are having towards us. Hopefully we catch up on the reality that this is what's going on, and don't be fazed by their bullying. Don't be fazed by all their accusations. Don't be fazed by all their conversations and platforms and panels of Africans and Jamaicans talking about specifically little old us. Y'all have a lot of other things y'all could be talking about. But Jealous Guy by Donny Hathaway.
I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control. I didn't mean to hurt you, no, no. And I'm sorry, I made you cry. I didn't want to hurt you, no, I didn't. I'm just a jealous guy. Now I was feeling insecure. You might not want me anymore. I was trembling inside. I was trembling inside. I didn't mean to hurt you, no, no. And I'm sorry I made you cry. I didn't want to hurt you, no, no. I'm just a jealous guy. I didn't mean to hurt you, no, no. And I'm sorry I made you cry. Oh, I didn't want to hurt you, no, no. I'm just a jealous guy. I'm just a jealous guy. I'm just a jealous guy. Yes, I am.
All right. Jealous Guy by Donny Hathaway. Now Shaka Khan and Rufus. Let me see. Rufus and Shaka Khan, once you get started. Thanks for the selection. I'll play one more song and then I gotta go. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you have not yet, please like and share the video. Please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Let's go.
Once you get started, oh, it's hard to stop. You can't stop it, just can't stop. When you get down low, when you get down, ain't no turning back, no. Everybody party, party. Just like in the groove. I like the way you do it when you do it. I like the way you move. It's a good night. Keep on your sound. Everybody, let's get on down. Like you never done before. Just want you to know that once you get started, oh, it's hard to stop, yeah. Just can't stop it when you get down low. When you get down, there's no time that's no. Once you get started, oh, it's hard to stop. When you get down, y'all, when you get down, ain't no turning back now. Now that you got down, we just want to say, get that big up, fucking music. Come on, move this way. Come on and move. Come on and groove. Come on and move. Whoa,
All right. We're going to do one more song with Roberta Flack and let me see. And Donny Hathaway called Back Together. I'm not sure if I know this song. I hope you guys appreciate some of the music or some of the information or some of my opinion. Again, it's not hate speech to point out, Black Americans are really under attack for what we think, how we feel, who we are, what we say we are, what we want to do. A lot of people have a lot of extra energy for us that they don't have for what's going on in their own country. And it's just very strange to me. I call it and chop it up as jealousy from observation. And hopefully people will respect to, let live and agree to disagree. That's basically the solution for all the problems that's going on pertaining to how people are deeming us. Hopefully more people will start receiving messages such as this and let go of their expectations that they have about who we are and what we're supposed to do for them. Again, everybody has an expectation that we should be doing something for them, not for ourselves, for them. This Pan-African talk. Anyway, something to think about, y'all.